Thank you, Mark. Yes, the two teams are in the tunnel. They'll be coming out very, very soon in this stadium that is inspired by aspects of nature, by the River Volga, the water and the wind. One might imagine there'll be a lot of water required tomorrow morning, wherever the Russians may be, as they'll be celebrating long and hard into the night, whether it be in Moscow or indeed here in Nizhny Novgorod, because that dramatic victory where Russia, the hosts, are through to the last 8, and they will meet the winners of this game next Saturday in Sochi. Denmark or Croatia. And as has been mentioned on 5 Live by John Murray and Mark as well, Russia, Croatia or Denmark, Sweden or Switzerland, Colombia or England will be in the World Cup final as the two teams take to the pitch down below. Denmark are in their white shirts and red shorts and white socks. Croatia then will be in their change strip of black. We'll be standing for the national anthems very, very soon. And the first anthem that you'll hear is that of Croatia, as Luka Modric just stands next to the referee, the Argentinian referee, Nestor Pitana. That tiny little block on the top tier away to our right-hand side was swaying in unison for the Danish anthem. BBC Radio 5 Live to see who will play Russia, the hosts, in the quarter-final. And Croatia have named the same side that dismantled Argentina. So they've made the 9 changes back again after resting so many for Iceland. Subasic is in goal, Vasalko, Vida, Lovren and Strinic the defence, the midfield, Brozovic, Modric, Rakitic, Perisic on the left, Rebic on the right behind Mandzukic. And Croatia are in their change strip, the all-black with the red shorts. Kasper Schmeichel is in goal for Denmark, Dalsgaard, Kjær, Jorgensen, Knudsen, that's the defence. Andreas Christensen will just sit in front of that back four. Martin Braithwaite on the right, Christian Eriksen, Delaney, Poulsen and Andreas Cornelius up front. Denmark white shirts, red shorts as they pose for the team photo, as do Croatia. What are your thoughts, Pat Nevin?
Well, first, my thoughts go back to our last game. We had to follow Germany getting put out in the last seconds. We were just having to follow Spain getting put out in the last seconds. It's kind of hard one to follow, isn't it? It's extraordinary, those two games, and they have been the most incredible stories. I still think this would be an amazing story if Denmark actually managed to do this, because like the game today, I didn't meet or hear anyone, and by the way, we're hanging about in Russia, that thought Russia had a chance today. And very similar, other than Danish people, and even in interviews in the build-up with the Radio 5 Live there, the Danes weren't very confident either, so this would be a complete shock as well.
Expect the unexpected. Russia 2018 World Cup. Anything could happen. Anything. So the two teams break from their respective huddles. Don't forget Wimbledon starts tomorrow as well, on a day that Andy Murray has pulled out. Comprehensive coverage across the BBC. Our live coverage will start at 11:30 on 5 Live and Sports Extra. Before that, Robbie Savage's World Cup breakfast show back at 8:30, when I'm sure Robbie will be reflecting on the story that Spain are out of the competition. So Russia await in Sochi, and it will be the last of the quarter-finals on Saturday evening. And we just wait to see who will go through with them for these two sides who are yet to concede in open play. They've both conceded a penalty. Croatia against Iceland. Jedinak scored from the spot for Australia in the 1-1 draw, as Cornelius is going to get the game underway. In fact, no, he's going to leave it and walk away for Christian Eriksen down below. The referee is from Argentina. Quite a subdued atmosphere, from not what we would have expected. There are those seats starting to fill up though now. Some late arrivals here in Nizhny Novgorod, east of Moscow, as Denmark get this last 16 encounter underway. And he goes all the way back to Jorgensen, the Huddersfield defender, who launches the ball long, and Vida then will head it away. Always reminds me of a character out of Die Hard, with his shaven head, except with that long ponytail at the black, the blonde-haired defender. As there he is once again, getting the ball forward, lifted in by Braithwaite to Cornelius, and Vida will cut it out, carve the ball out towards the far side. So Denmark have an early throw in the opening 30 seconds as they play from right to left. And it's going to be Knudsen who's going to go across to take it. So the left back, the Ipswich Town player, wanders across towards that far side. Terry Butcher mentioned the long throws. It's handed to him by a ball boy. He's wheeling his right arm around as if he's warming up to take the opening delivery in a test match.
There's plenty in there as well. There are plenty in that box. There's 7 or 8 white shirts.
Here it comes now. Knudsen's long throw hasn't been dealt with by Croatia, and in the end it's gone in, and it's from Jorgensen, the defender, who struck it with his left foot. Might have taken deflection, but they couldn't keep it out. It's the quickest goal of the World Cup in 2018. And Denmark have stunned Croatia in the early stages.
Wow, what a start. What a phenomenal start. Well done to them, because they got the ball right at the start of the game and they've launched it forward. And they've had 2 or 3 players that have tried to get on the end of it. Poulsen and Cornelius have both got up there, gone out for the throw-in. But what amazed me at the throw-in was so many players in there. It was like a corner kick, only more. And they've got very lucky. He's taking deflections, it's hit the post. He's beating the keeper through his legs. It is the luckiest goal you'll get, and they don't care a jot.
61 seconds, according to my producer John Southall. It actually was very fortunate, as Pat says, that it struck Subicic, then off the post, but Jorgensen won't care about that. The Huddersfield central defender wheeled away in delight, and Denmark lead by 1-0. The fastest ever goal, by the way, in World Cup history, 11 seconds. Hakan Şüker, Turkey against South Korea in 2002. Ebbe Sand once scored for Denmark, which was the quickest goal as a substitute with 16 seconds in the 98 World Cup. But Jorgensen with a goal just past the minute mark. So it'll be officially timed as the 2nd minute in the game. But Croatia 0, Denmark 1. And that certainly caught Croatia cold, because from the throw they never dealt with it, Pat Nevin.
No, they didn't. They knew exactly what they were going to do. As you say, they're getting 7 players in that box there. It's as good, if not better, than a corner kick. Really surprised how positive they started off. After us talking about could they do what we try and do what Russia were doing, well, they've not started doing it, even though they've got that early goal, because they're almost playing what looks like a 4-4-2. It's more of a diamond in the midfield there, but they're still being ultra positive about it. So well done to Denmark. Last words before we started the game: be brave, Denmark. They are, and they were.
Åge Hareide, the Norwegian coach, did say that they would change their approach for this game. Now, of course, they've got the option to sit back and maybe strike on the counter-attack. So Croatia have got it all to do as they come forward with Rebic on this right-hand side. Rebic got some support from Vrsaljko. Vrsaljko makes the run. Oh, that was fortunate. Croatia level from Mandzukic. The rebound fell for Mandzukic. We've had 2 goals in the opening 4 minutes. They weren't behind for long. Very, very fortunate. But Mandzukic pounced, turned, fired the ball in. 1-1. What a start.
Well, I've just seen 2 of the luckiest goals in the entire World Cup. The first few moments of this. But good reaction from Croatia. They've got forward. They've not been fearful in any way. Good play down the right wing there. When the ball's played in, it's a toe poke, smashed off a defender as he tried to clear it, hit his face, almost knocked him out. And who do you not want it to fall to? Mandzukic. Right there, 6-yard box. He does not miss that.
The attempted clearance from the Danish defence actually struck Christiansen. I think it was Christiansen. And it then rebounded back to Mandzukic, who had no hesitation to turn and just crush it past Schmeichel. So forget the fact that these 2 sides haven't conceded in open play. They have. Both sides have conceded. It's 1-1, and we're only playing in the 5th minute of the game.
See all those statistics you spend your time trying to get working on. They're all gone in the first few minutes. Absolutely incredible, that reaction from the Croatian fans when they didn't know who it was that was scored, because the ball was, all over the place in there. So they've just found out it's Mandzukic, and that went down very, very well with the Croatian fans. I was going to say to the left, but they're all around us. Hey, we've got a game on here, and well done Denmark for being so open. But goodness knows what's going to happen here.
Mandzukic with his first goal of the tournament. Here's Modric forward, looking towards Rebic. caught a little bit late there by Delaney, tidied up at the back by Knudsen to Kjær, the Danish captain, blonde-haired defender, plays for Sevilla. Kasper Schmeichel will clear away downfield up towards Cornelius. He was backing into his man, and that gives away a free kick. You mentioned Kasper Schmeichel. The only tournament meeting between these two was 1996, the Euros, of course, that were held in England, and the Davos Suker chip at Hillsborough over his dad Peter, which was one of the memorable goals of that tournament.
Yeah, oddly enough, I'm trying to think, has either keeper had the ball in his hands other than picking the ball out the goal? I don't think they have.
It's 1-1. We've had a whirlwind start here in Nizhny Novgorod.
I was asking the question, we were having to follow some tough games recently, and Spain getting knocked out is a really, really tough one to follow. And I'll tell you what, they're trying their best, these two. Long may it last. It's
ball played forward from that far side. It's quite apt that there is John Southall, our producer, is now pointing out that it was 57 seconds. It's a 4-second delay, I think, from the original time that you told me, because the other day we were in Samara and he was complaining about the TV. It had a 4-second delay as we watched the England game. So he's 4 seconds out, which is just a private joke, if you'll indulge me.
He was getting very upset about it.
But the Jorgensen goal is the quickest in a World Cup game since June 2014, when Clint Dempsey scored against Ghana after 29 seconds.
Now, was that Hakan Suker game? The one that he scored for against Croatia? It was against South Korea?
2002.
Yeah, that was the fourth playoff, as I remember correctly.
Yep, 11 seconds. But I think the previous quick hit in this tournament was about 3.5 minutes, was that Ronaldo? So 1-1. Jorgensen first for Denmark, Mandzukic then 2 minutes later. And both were very fortunate. Subasic is going to take the goal kick for Croatia. BBC Radio 5 Live, 7.5 minutes in. Struck downfield, right-footed. Knudsen's going to rise in the air with Rebic. He beat him easily in the air. Back now with Vasalko, the right-back Pat.
Very, very open, aren't they? Both teams are really open. We were asking the question before the game, I was saying to Mark Chapman, look, the teams that are winning tournaments, be it leagues, be it Champions Leagues, usually they're very attack-minded teams these days. Look how well Liverpool did last season. Look how well Manchester City did last season. We are in an era of the attack-minded teams doing well. And it's good to see both these teams coming out with that attitude tonight.
The stragglers have turned up. They're late to the party after having one drink, and I think that was a cry of Russia, Russia. The Russian flags are waving inside the stadium, and the locals all of a sudden just decided to a display of patriotism here in Nizhny Novgorod to celebrate the fact that they're already through to the quarter-finals, and they will play the winners of this one. As Braithwaite, who switched to the left-hand side, tried to come forward, Vida dived in, and out it goes for a Denmark throw on this near side that Eriksson is going to take. They're playing from right to left. That Eriksson is now going to leave for Knudsen. So again, this is going to be another long throw that's going to come in from the Ipswich defender. They've got Henrik Dalsgaard, who plays for Brentford, on the right-hand side, the first Brentford player to play at a World Cup.
There's 7 in the box again, by the way, and 2 just outside it.
So it's a throw on the left-hand side. Knudsen to take it. Again, it's hurled in there, headed out by Rebic. It's going to come out all the way to the centre circle, and then it's the turn, and all the way back from Dalsgaard, the aforementioned right back, to Schmeichel, who strikes it downfield. 1-1, BBC Radio 5 Live.
I was actually going to ask you to finish off. You were saying something else about Dalsgaard, though. Or maybe you'd finished.
No, I'd finished. Here's Modric, just finding a pocket of space, quickly tackled by the Barry Horn-like Delaney with his hairstyle from a distance in the midfield. Not that Barry would maybe thank me for that.
The hairstyle except, I think he'd be annoyed about the tackle. He was much cleaner, but just as hard.
Free kick is touched short, just over the halfway line. Croatia in all black, playing from left to right. 10 minutes played, 1-1. If you've just joined us, you missed 2 very early goals. Liverpool's Lovren's on the ball now. He's over the halfway line. Lovren then to Vasalko, inside. Mandzukic shows himself, back towards Modric, midway through the Denmark half. He waits, stands on the ball, with his right foot on the ball. He was looking there at a lack of movement as he waves his left hand in annoyance. So then Croatia go back, just inside their own half, and Vida, the central defender, across towards that far side for the blonde-haired Ivan Strinic, the left back in field. And here is Modric once again. Very deep at the moment. Mandzukic steps over the ball, through to Veselko, the right back, infield. Rebic goes down, free kick, direct free kick, just outside the penalty area.
Naive by Jorgensen there. He shouldn't dive in there. It's one of those ones, just stay on your feet, usher him wide. He tries to dive in there, tries to nick the ball. Every player in the game now will just take that hit, flick it past him and take the hit. I'll tell you what, he's lucky it was inches outside the box. And that's a dangerous thing to do. If you've got players of the standard of Modric up against you taking free kicks from there, you shouldn't be diving in there. I don't think he'll take this one there enough.
Well, it's either going to be Perisic or Rakitic.
He's not bad, is he, for these free kicks, Rakitic?
Well, it is right of centre. It's just as Pat says, just outside the white lines, the white markings of the penalty area as we look away to our right-hand side. It suits the left foot of Perisic, who's eyeing this one up. He's got his cast on his right wrist. Player who's been linked with Manchester United. Rakitic, does he go right-footed around the wall to beat the keeper at the near post? He's eyeing it up too. It's 1-1. It's 5 live. Perisic runs up, strikes it left-footed. Wall does its job. Takes the deflection behind for a corner kick.
Yeah, big wall there, it has to be said. They didn't jump. I don't think they jumped there, and they've just stood strong. We've seen a few actually. Let's see, Barry Horn looks like he's going for it again there, but he stood strong. And there've been a couple in this World Cup. There's been a few that have ducked, not been brave enough. When it comes to this level of the World Cup, you've got to be brave.
Modric is going to take the corner kick for Croatia in their black shirts, playing from left to right. It's got the still the faint checkered pattern on the front of their shirts. It's an outswinger. It was aimed towards Lovren, who climbed high. Comes out to Strinic, the left back. Diagonal ball back inside the penalty area. Delaney was back there, and it's a strong header out of play for a throw on that far side. Kickoff was 9 o'clock local time, and I noticed the temperature was still 25 degrees. It's been a very muggy, humid day in Nizhny Novgorod as Croatia take the throw on that left-hand side, and then it's Strinic to play it forward. Denmark have everybody back behind the ball. Croatia at the moment quite content just to be patient with possession. Spread out towards this near side, the right. Veselko back towards Modric. Modric slides it in. Rebic has made the run into the channel. Then Rebic cuts the ball back. Perisic had got too much underneath it, and Poulsen will clear away on that far side. Poulsen then will win a throw for Denmark. 1-1. BBC Radio 5 Live. 13 minutes played.
Where FIFA lineups have got Modric playing as a number 10, behind the striker, no chance, nowhere near it. He's standing almost in the right full-back position most of the time, and the reason being is he knows where that's all the space is. So Modric will go where the space is. For the first 10 minutes or so, I don't think we really mentioned Modric or even Eriksen, but you can see Modric getting more, slowly but surely, getting more and more involved in the game. And even though he's standing in that just in front of the right full-back area, he's getting lots and lots of the ball now.
Eriksen at the minute is the central one of the three behind Cornelius. Christian Eriksen, who's yet to have any influence on the game so far. We've been playing for 14 minutes and it's 1-1 between Croatia and Denmark for the right to play the hosts Russia in the quarter-final. Modric, Veselko, right back forward, level with the penalty area. Braithwaite's gone back with him, does his job. Well, half blocks the cross, headed away then by Denmark and Knudsen, picked back up by Modric, just slips it in towards Veselko, back to Modric to end the byline. They're looking very, very strong, particularly down this right-hand side. Yeah,
and that's Modric, isn't it? That is absolutely Modric. It's so clever what he's doing, because you expect him to try and get further forward, but he's not. He wants to control them. And when we listened to Cesc Fabregas a little bit earlier on, when he sits back in that kind of pocket, almost like an American football playmaker, he's absolutely brilliant. He's doing the same.
Rebic with the cross, left-footed, flying header out by the blonde-haired defender Kjær. Picked back up by Strinic, the left-back, midway through the half of Denmark on that far side. Mandzukic, who got the equaliser, tries to hold it up, lays it back towards Strinic, and it's put out of play. It'll be a Denmark throw on that far side. 1-1.
I'm rubbish at statistics, but I think we've got one here. It's only the second ever game in World Cup history.
Croatia-Denmark, only the second match in World Cup history to see both teams score inside 4 minutes after Argentina-Nigeria in June 2014, courtesy of Opta Joe on social media. I've got to admit I hadn't got that one. I've got to admit I wasn't expecting the whirlwind start that we have had here, as it's 1-1. What I can tell you is that now all 30 goals in Denmark's history at World Cups are still inside the box.
Very good. We like that one. We do. That's getting a kind of an accepting nod there. But at the moment, as the game's been played just now, it's actually now it's fallen into a pattern we probably slightly expected. There was no pattern for the first 5 or 10 minutes. It's now fallen into a pattern. Croatia are getting much more of the ball. They're dominant in possession, holding the ball well. Modric is the most influential player, but it's still 1-1.
Here is Modric on the ball, just collecting it from Lovren. It's the Russian fans you can hear inside the stadium. The Russian flags are flying once more. They are going to make the most of this day, on a day when they knocked out Spain in the World Cup that they are hosting. Perisic heads it forward. Kerr will turn on the edge of his own penalty area to head it away. Helped further away by Christiansen, but Modric is back there in the centre circle. And Lovren all the way back to Subasic, the Croatian goalkeeper. Vida miscontrolled it. Modric, though, quickly picks up the ball. He's at the centre of everything.
Utterly dominating the entire game at the moment. And, you know, a lot of his passes are having to be 16, 70-yard passes. And although they've been to the man, that's sometimes just slightly too long to be able to be a killer pass, because there's not a lot of space behind that Danish defence at the moment.
So Croatia having the better of the ball at the moment. 1-1, BBC Radio 5 Live. Rebic, nice little turn. Knudsen, though, stuck to his task. Blocked the pass that was trying to play in the right back, Vrsaljko. Now they can come forward with Cornelius holding the ball up. He turns, it's a long diagonal ball, but that was an aimless one. Poulsen was never going to get that. Back in the side after suspension. That's the only other thing, though, about Croatia, is that they've got 8 players in their squad who are on a yellow card. And in the starting lineup, you've got Mandzukic, you've got Rebic, you've got Brozovic in the centre, Rakitic and Vrsaljko. So 5 of them are on a yellow card, and a yellow would mean that they would miss the quarter-final should they go through. Eriksson had the ball momentarily and then dispossessed by Rakitic. He was quickly crowded out, was the Tottenham playmaker, as Rakitic goes long from a deep-lying midfield role all the way through to the blonde-haired Schmeichel. Decked out, all in yellow, away to our right-hand side. We've been playing for 18 minutes. We're in Nizhny Novgorod. It's 1-1. This is Pat Nevin.
Yeah, I thought you were going to say we've been playing for 18 minutes and we've only got the 2 goals so far. There haven't been many more chances for that, and you get the feeling Denmark are going to play in that way, where if they get the ball at the back, they'll eventually play it long up. They'll look for corner kicks, probably throw-ins as much as anything else. They've already scored from 1. They might get another one here.
Cornelius on the right-hand side goes back, then they go infield. This is Christiansen into the centre circle now to Jorgensen. Knudsen, the left back, 10 yards inside, gets the 1-2, plays it with Thomas Delaney, but Delaney, who was born and raised in Copenhagen, despite the Irish sounding name, he does have deep Irish roots, but the Dane was it was a sloppy ball back really, and didn't do Knudsen any favours. Out for a Croatian throw.
Yeah, but oddly enough, if he'd have got on the end of that there, Rebic hadn't gone with him, so he had a lot of space to run into.
Modric over the halfway line, left-footed ball. Perisic now is on the attack, cutting in from that left touchline into the penalty area. Shot blocked by Poulsen, who was back there helping out, and it cannons out of play. Quickly comes back though from the multi-ball system in operation here. Perisic just plays it short. This is for the left back. Strinic with the cross towards the far post. Mandzukic goes down, and the referee says no.
Well, the referee's in absolutely brilliant position, but the way he went down and the ball was in front of him, you would wonder why he would dive at that point in time. You know, there might have been a little hand on the shoulder.
VAR is checking for a possible penalty.
Yeah, I think it's right to check, because it would seem odd, and where he's holding his shirt by his shoulder, Mandzukic, he's exactly where I thought if any hold was, it was there. It's just whether they consider it as enough of a hold to be a penalty kick, and I do not think they do.
No, the check is over, no penalty awarded. Mandzukic, I think, had the first tug of Knudsen, didn't he?
But I also think he slipped a little bit as well, to be fair. I think it was more about the slip as the reason why he ended up on the ground, as opposed to the tug. It
remains 1-1 as Rakitic unable to find that forward ball to Perisic on that far side. So 20 minutes in Nizhny Novgorod, and it is still 1-1 as Kasper Schmeichel in no real hurry to take the goal kick. Well, don't forget, tomorrow, as well as Wimbledon, Samara, Brazil against Mexico, the big one from 3 o'clock. Belgium against Japan at 7. And on Tuesday night, Colombia against England at 7 o'clock. All the build-up, of course, on BBC Radio 5 Live from the Spartak Stadium, with John Murray and Chris Waddle, who will maybe struggling to get some sleep tonight in the party city of Moscow, judging by the celebrations that we've seen after 1-1 against Spain after extra time, but 4-3 in the penalty shootout. 1-1 here, 21 minutes played, and the game really has slowed down, Pat Nevin.
Yeah, it has, and it couldn't really go at that pace, let's be fair about it. The first 4 minutes, it wasn't going to go at that pace. But at the moment, it's settled into exactly the pattern, and I think what the Danes are going to try and make sure is they don't leave any spaces, any gaps. Interestingly, everywhere there is a gap, you will find the number 10 of the Croatians there.
Perisic with the cross from the left-hand side, cut out by an outstretched right leg of Simon Kjær, picked back up by Strinic, whose deep ball in from the left-hand side goes away from the penalty area, and Braithwaite of Middlesbrough, who was loaned to Bordeaux, just make sure that Vasalko would not get there, and it'll be the Ipswich Town player. So you've got Knudsen of Ipswich, you've got Jorgensen of Huddersfield, Dalsgaard of Brentford, Braithwaite still of Middlesbrough, Christensen Chelsea, obviously Schmeichel of Leicester. So there's quite an English influence in this Danish starting 11 as we watch them play from right to left in their white shirts and red shorts. And here is Eriksson bringing the ball down. Eriksson, of course, of Tottenham, to the centre at the edge of the D, gets the shot away right-footed, takes the deflection, and behind it goes for a corner kick.
Do you know what the problem there is? Eriksson's got the ball, they've broken really well. For a moment they've got 4-on-3. Now that's a position you would usually get Eriksson slipping a little ball through to one of the great players who's got in front of him. But because of Eriksson hasn't got Harry Kane in front of him here, he takes the shot on himself. It was actually the wrong call there in that situation, because there was 2 players in front of him. He should have slipped it through, but it's just because he's not got his usual players beside him.
We've got 3 sets of supporters inside this stadium, obviously Denmark and Croatia, but the Russian fans are just having their own party. They're starting off a Mexican wave by waving the Russian flags as they do it. Here is Christensen, corner taken short, charged down by Rakitic. And in the end, Christensen will run all the way back towards the halfway line towards Schmeichel. Schmeichel then right-footed, back out towards the left-hand side, over the head of Eriksson. And also maybe the Mexican wave, because there's a spectacle, the game has dropped.
Well, to be fair, I'm really surprised at the Danes there. They get the ball a corner kick, they've already scored from one set piece. It was a throw, I'll grant you that, but it's still a set piece. They got all the players up, they overcommit to some degree up. They got everybody up, they took it short and they never got it in. And they ended up back to their own goalkeeper with that ball there. And that's where their biggest strength would appear to be, apart from getting into Eriksson. That's a real disappointment from the Danes there.
2 Mexican waves, both going in the opposite ways inside this stadium. The Danish support, a huge block of red. They're swaying, again in opposite directions on each different row. It's playing havoc with your eyes inside this stadium at the minute.
I think some of the Russians will be swaying by the end of the night.
Knudsen with a long throw for Denmark. 1-1. BBC Radio 5 Live, flicked on by Poulsen. That was just over the halfway line, and he launched it almost to the edge of the D. Did Knudsen. Here is Kjær, just pops it off towards that far side, and Dalsgaard will get a throw for Denmark.
So that's the astounding thing. So they get a throw in almost at the halfway line, and they're still trying to put it in the mixer, as we say. They get a corner and they play a shot. Absolutely beyond me, that. I don't think they'll play the next one short.
Here is Jorgensen, plays it forward, stepping out of defence was Vasalko. Rolls all the way towards Kjær, but in fact the referee has said there was a foul there on the Croatian right back, so that will be a free kick to Croatia, and we're in the 25th minute on BBC Radio 5 Live. I mentioned earlier Robbie Savage's World Cup breakfast back at 8:30. Michael Owen is his special guest in the morning. Don't forget the all-conquering 5 Live World Cup daily podcast that'll be available with Mark and Kelly from its usual outlets, as well as Mandzukic makes the run. Jorgensen goes with him, and Mandzukic didn't keep the ball in play.
It's all settled down. You made the Danes are actually looking really impressive now. Christensen playing in front of that area. He's such an intelligent player, Andreas Christensen, and he's covering in front extraordinarily well. He's nice on the ball. He's not had much of a chance to play the ball out from that deep lying area, but he's killing that space, which I think they were expecting Modric to go and sit in. Modric hasn't gone near there yet because he knows that's not where the danger is. That's not where the space is going to be.
They look a very limited side, though, Denmark, don't they?
Yeah, and if you have certain limitations, you play to whatever strengths you have, and we know what their strengths are. We'll get a chance here.
It was a ball that had been played forward by Rebic. They've actually switched. Rebic is now on the left-hand side. Perisic has come to the right-hand side. It was Rebic's diagonal ball that was looking for Mandzukic, and it was unable to find him.
Yeah, you talk about the limitations, and it is quite back to front, without being purely back to front, but it is quite back to front. But hey, if it gets him there.
Here's Braithwaite, able to turn, drives at the Croatian defence, overruns it, comes back out midway through the Croatia half to Delaney. Kjær, the blonde-haired central defender. In front of him is Christensen playing a holding role in midfield. Cornelius, Eriksson, Braithwaite's made the run. Braithwaite can't carve it goalwards. It was blocked by Subasic, who was quickly off his goal line, and the last touch came off Braithwaite. That was better from Denmark.
That's the best piece of play they've had in the game so far. Well, the neatest and the sharpest piece of play, and the most intelligent piece of play as well. To be honest, it was not a good finish. He's got to get a little bit more on that. To be honest, I think he shinned it. He's got to lift it a little bit. Asked the goalkeeper a few questions, but it was a lovely ball in by Eriksson to give that half chance to the Danes.
He was a £9 million signing from Middlesbrough last summer. Didn't really happen for him. 6 goals in 21 appearances. Went out on loan to Bordeaux. 4 in 14 when he went to France. 1-1. BBC Radio 5 Live. And the noise you can hear are the Russian fans celebrating once again in Nizhny Novgorod. We might, wherever our teams are in 5 Live, whether it be Moscow, I don't know where else, Kazan, Sochi, here in Nizhny Novgorod, that might well be the chant that you're going to go to sleep with. Russia, Russia.
It's constant. I actually noticed just for a second there, just right in the middle of the play, Vida turned around and applauded the fans for singing. Well done him.
That'll go down well. 28 minutes in. Subasic will clear away towards that far side. Strinic in field to Modric. He's over the halfway line. Croatia playing from left to right. Still 1-1. Stepping forward easily was Jorgensen. Poulsen tied it up by Christensen. Dalsgaard, the right back, midway through his own half, and now finds Kjær. Rakitic will go towards him, but he passes the ball forward. Christensen on the stretch. Croatia now have got a turnover here. Here is Rakitic, who's going to shoot. Beaten away by Schmeichel. He fell to the floor as well, still alive. Rebic keeps it in play, left-hand side, beaten again, down by the near post by Schmeichel. Miss it by Perisic, and then it comes back towards him, and he volleys the ball well wide, well over. 1-1.
Well, nothing was sticking to Kasper Schmeichel's hands there, was it? Everything was coming in. He was just pawing at it, and it wasn't getting away from the danger. But no complaints with the first one. It's a good save from the shot from Rakitic, but it came back out to a dangerous area, and it just wouldn't break the right way. It was probably 4 attempts at goal in that short period of play there, but none of them were good enough to beat Kasper Schmeichel. But that was a decent moment, and once again, you have to be honest, it came from the very good ball right at the start of it from Luka Modric.
Well, all of a sudden now, they're not doing the Mexican wave. The Russian supporters now are all lighting up their phones. It's like being in a pop concert wherever you look, and in fact everybody's joining in as the ball is played through to Rakitic. But what a spectacle here inside the stadium at Nizhny Novgorod with the it is dark. It's, what time is it local? It's about 9:30, and you just got the lights of the phones all the way around the stadium being waved in their arms, in the hands by the supporters here.
You do realise we're getting up at 6 o'clock tomorrow morning. We're not getting any sleep tonight. Not in this town.
Half an hour played. My fear now when you say that for the, a 12-hour journey that we've got, is that this could go to extra time. I'm just starting to get a bad feeling about this one. I thought it's all right. My fears were dispelled with the 2 early goals inside 4 minutes. 1-1 it remains, but the way it's going,
I'm okay with it. I admit that. I love extra time, and I love the penalties. I love the excitement of it, and if it long as it's a good extra time, I'll put up with lack of sleep for a day.
Yeah, but the one that we've got in St. Petersburg, I think, will go to extra time. Sweden, Switzerland. As the ball is long, Poulsen heads it onto the penalty area. Cornelius made the run. Vida had gone with him, shoulder to shoulder, and Vida concedes the corner kick under pressure, as Denmark now will try and trouble Croatia from this set piece. 31 minutes played, BBC Radio 5 Live, one apiece. Pat Nevin.
No, I don't think Cornelius is blessed with subtlety, but I don't think that's what he's interested in. He's a bit of a blunderbuss up front there, but in the best possible way. He makes himself a complete and utter nuisance, and he's making life very, very difficult for Lovren and Vida.
So Delaney's forward from the back. Kerr has come forward too. There's Christiansen in there, Jorgensen, Poulsen. Croatia have everybody back inside their own penalty area. It's going to be a corner kick. It's going to be taken over on that far side, the right. It's an away swinger. Rebic got up in the air, headed back towards the near post. Hook clear then, and out towards the far side. Here is Braithwaite. Braithwaite to return the ball towards Eriksson. Chips over the cross. Subasic with the comfortable and confident take inside his 6-yard area.
I think he'll be delighted with that, because just about every ball that's been put into that box, he's not been able to come for it because the quality has been superb, whether it be from a long throw or from a corner kick. So absolutely magnificent for him that he's actually got his hands on the ball eventually. And by the way, calm down, it's only a fly.
Mandzukic comes forward. Veselko on the right hand side, crosses deep. Perisic headed away under pressure by Dalsgaard. Picked back up. Croatia, shot comes in from Rebic, blocked. Modric. That's the danger when you're on the banks of the River Volga. You do get the odd fly, and one just flew into our commentary position here. It was slightly bigger than a fly, I've got to say, Pat.
Baby moth. just for a moment there, Rebic is slightly disappointing. The couple of times he's actually got the ball on the far side there. He's got himself into good positions where you could get a little bit of a ping on the ball coming in from that left hand side. Do you know what? He's really not caught it. He's not got it out of his feet. It's actually been slightly disappointing. He's actually pretty gutted with himself. I keep on watching him over there. He's leaning over. I wonder if there's a slight injury that he's got, because it's very noticeable that with such poor connection he made with the ball.
That's the voice of Pat Nevin on BBC Radio 5 Live, where it's Croatia 1, Denmark 1 in this last 16 encounter. Strinic has got space to run into. The left back, he's to the edge of the area. Strinic is still going. He's into the box now as Schmeichel comes off his goal line and makes the save inside his 6-yard area.
And the referee's given a free kick there even before it goes to Schmeichel. And he knew the full back there was dragging the player behind him back, but it just all seemed to open up for him just for a second there. But yeah, the referee spotted on. He's got that right. I'll tell you what, he's been up with the play, the referee. He's fantastic. The last couple of times have been, tricky, questionable, difficult decisions to be made. He's within 10 yards of the ball.
He's from Argentina, is Nestor Pitana, as Simon Kerr is just feeling the effects of that challenge. The severe defender just trying to walk it off, shrug it off, as Kasper Schmeichel tells him, come on, keep on going. We've got 11 minutes to go to half time. Mentioned the Volga River. It's actually where the Oka River empties into the Volga, or Strelka, as the Russians would say.
And your vocabulary grows by the day.
By the day. Schmeichel to take it. Strikes it away, right-footed downfield. He's got a long distance on that. Cornelius will chest it off. Eriksson's going to hit it first time. Dropped on the half volley off his left foot. It was off target by Eriksson and out for a goal kick, as there's a bit of a breeze picks up inside the stadium with 10 minutes to go to the break.
I was surprised that Eriksson goes for that one there. It's on the half volley, but it's you're talking 25, nearly 30 yards out. But it's on an angle there. He's actually got a few yards around him there. There's no need to go and take that one on there. I think he can take a touch, and maybe sometimes he has been phenomenal for this team. And when they've been trying to get to the World Cup, he's basically almost done it on his own. But maybe the expectation is so high, just biting at that a little bit too quickly.
Rebic comes forward, in off the left touch line. Central area is Modric, switches it back out. They've actually doubled up on that side. They've got Rebic and Perisic. It's Perisic's cross that is eventually cleared by Kerr inside the penalty area for Denmark. Still 1-1. He had an electrifying start to this game, where 57 seconds, Jorgensen put Denmark ahead, and then Mandzukic quickly level. Both goals were rather fortunate, or a degree of good fortune. Lovren on the halfway line, searching diagonal ball, looking for the run of Rebic, overhit, out for a goal kick.
Yeah, they're not exactly run out of ideas, but they've realised they're coming up against a defence that's incredibly well drilled. And I suppose if you think about it, the goal that the Croatians have actually scored, as you say, a lot of luck involved in that goal. So other than that, what have they been able to create against this well-drilled defence? Extremely little.
Rakitic from long range, Rebic again, but as you said, Schmeichel couldn't hold either of them. But apart from the goals, there haven't really been too many other chances in this game, as Jorgensen will head it back towards Schmeichel. There was a foul there by Mandzukic, but the Argentinian referee is going to let it go, but acknowledges the assistant referee, as it was then played out short to Kerr, who came under pressure from Rakitic, up towards Poulsen on that far side, back in the side after a suspension. And then Eriksson had made the run but wasn't spotted. Denmark go back and across. Jorgensen, the central defender, now will come forward. Knudsen, the left back on the near side's pushed up. He's halfway through the Croatia half. Little touch didn't quite come off, and it peters out of play for a Croatia throw.
They do not look comfortable playing the ball out from the back, the Danes. They play it along the back, but you feel as if they could get caught out. You know, that they're not sharp enough. They're not showing for each other very quickly in comparison to some other teams such as the Spanish, or even to a degree the Croatians as well. Although Croatians at the back, they just try and get it into midfield as quickly as possible, but they do look slightly lumbery at the back there. You think you're probably best just to get up in front as quick as you can.
So how's this going to go then, Pat? Who's going to win? Come on, you've already
idea. Made that mistake before. I mean, I still think Croatians are still favourites here. They've got much more of the ball, but we watched a team with 76% of the ball today get beat with a team with 24% of the possession, so that stands for something, but not a huge amount. They've got Modric, but he's playing very, very deep. We're talking about just now, he's just in front of the centre backs while they're attacking, so he's not been able to play those little intricate threaded balls. There's a bit of me that thinks that's all very good, you know, being the quarterback back there, Luka. Do you know what? It's much harder to play a wee bit 20, 30 yards further up. It's a wee bit harder. There's not as much space, but there's a bigger, much bigger reward.
Well, they've got a free kick now of Croatia. It's on the far side, the left. It's level with the penalty area, and the reason is that Dalsgaard, the Brentford player, hauled down Rebic. They've only got one in the wall of Denmark. That's Eriksson. Every other white shirt is inside their own penalty area. Modric is going to take it. 5 live. 7 minutes to go to half-time. It's 1-1 in Nizhny Novgorod. Modric waits, the Argentinian referee. We've got at the moment 2 Croatian players in offside positions, Perisic and Mandzukic. Modric to take it, and it comes now, and the header flashes wide, and it was from Lovren, who just couldn't get the telling touch.
Really nice little switch at the back post. There's only 2 of them that are involved in it, but it's a nice little switch, and Lovren makes a yard of space there, and to be fair, I mean, it's about 6 inches above his head. Had it been just that 6 inches lower, it's a head. It's an easy head in, and it's an easy goal, and I don't think he was offside.
6 minutes to go to half-time, 1-1.
Funny, I've asked that question of Luka Modric, why don't you move up the field? He's now at centre forward. He's right up there now. He's got to add something else much more positive going forward.
Dalsgaard slides it in from the right-hand side. Vida must have got a little touch. He certainly, whatever he did, deceived Cornelius, who wasn't expecting it, and the lumbering centre forward for Denmark, it went into the arms of Subasic. The reason I asked you how it's going to go is that when we were watching the penalty shootout from our commentary position, there was hardly anybody inside the stadium. I put it on social media to get the reaction from the noise outside. It was quite surreal, but you can actually hear the voice of Pat Nevin, as it was Aspas, wasn't it, who went to strike it, and he went, he's going to miss. So it's like being with Mystic Men.
Well, there was lots of little signs that showed that, and also it is the most extraordinary pressure penalty you can just about imagine, other than, you know, to score the winner, keep you in a World Cup final, to keep your country in the World Cup. The massive pressure, and he did not look as if he was dealing with it well.
Veselko is going to take a throw for Croatia on the right-hand side. Mandzukic hooks it towards the run of Perisic, but it was cleared away. And now it's with Delaney. Looks up, diagonal ball. Making the run forward is Poulsen on that far side. Šrinić is tight behind him, brings the ball under control. Foul there by Rakitic on Poulsen, just outside the centre circle. And Denmark with Christiansen. He wants to take it quickly, but there's nobody alive to it. And then Eriksson says, no, I'll take this. And he just nudges it short. Jorgensen across to Knudsen. forward to Braithwaite on the left-hand side for Denmark. White shirts playing from right to left, under 5 minutes to go to half-time. I'm sure there'll be more reaction to Russia's sensational victory in that shootout against Spain, with Mark back in the studio. I doubt that it would have quietened down just yet. The horns of those cars going over the bridge near our Red Square studio will still be blaring as Denmark come forward and now get a throw down towards the corner flag on this near left-hand side, and Knudsen's going to take it, and once again it's going to be a long one because he's getting as much of a run-up as he can up against the advertising hoardings. He waits for Jorgensen and Kerr to come forward. Croatia have done their homework because they've got everybody back to deal with this throw. I think it's Christensen who's just making a run towards the near side of the 6-yard box, but again it's another long one, headed away by Mandzukic and then volleyed clear by somebody who we've hardly mentioned so far, Brozovic in the midfield. But the game is such a slow pace.
Yeah, it has slowed down. I mean, the other thing you have to remember to some degree in a moment.
Here's Eriksson, comes to Eriksson. Eriksson to the edge of the area. Poulsen now, right-hand side, back to Eriksson. Eriksson with a right-footed cross, and it drops wide.
Oh, I wonder if it was a cross or a shot. Somewhere in between it, wasn't it? It could have dropped into that back post there, but yeah, I mean, it just shows you what the two Danish most important things are. Oh, I've just seen a replay. It has actually touched the crossbar, hasn't it?
Well, that was closer than I actually thought from our long commentary position here. We're a long way away from the pitch, but I thought it was always going away from goal.
Well, that's why I said I don't know if it was a shot or a cross. Yeah. It was somewhere in between. It's one of those ones you put it in there, and if it drops in, it drops in. You're absolutely delighted with it. But it kind of sums up the two actions that they've got. The long throw, they are very, very dangerous from that. But the referee's allowed that to go on there.
Rebic gets the better of that challenge with Kerr. He's into the penalty area, can't thread it through, blocked by the legs of Knudsen, and now Delaney will clear for Denmark. Cornelius drops back inside his own half. Christiansen back to Knudsen.
I was going to say that was Denmark in microcosm, wasn't it? The long throw. The throw from this near side there went beyond the penalty spot, so it's a monster long throw he's got, and then a piece of class from Eriksson.
Dalsgaard fires in the cross from the right-hand side, headed away by Lovren, picked back up by the white shirts of Denmark. Braithwaite, Knudsen joins the attack, floats over the cross, left-footed, headed away by Vida. Rebic though won't get there. Dalsgaard into the centre circle for Kerr. 2 minutes to go to half-time. I was thankful for the 2 early goals, I can tell you that much. Here is Jorgensen, Knudsen. Again, he tries another little flick, which doesn't come off. That's the second time we've done that, and it just goes out of play for a throw. Again, what the first time?
Do you know, you're talking about those 2 early goals. I thought if it's going to be one of those mad games, thank goodness you didn't go to that karaoke bar last night. Your voice definitely wouldn't have held up.
I was still enjoying my time with Yevgeny, my new friend, in the cafe up the road.
That's right. You do make holiday friends, don't you? You're very good at making holiday friends. I've noticed that.
Yeah, except the only thing is we are here working. Here is Strinic on that far side. 1-1. Can't imagine there'd be much added on time. Lovren back to Vida. Russian fans you can hear in the background. Not for the first time they've broken out into cries to celebrate that victory. Strinic is forward, plays the ball in. Rakitic with a shot! And it was easily saved by Schmeichel. Rebic had just let it run. Nobody had picked up Rakitic, and as he hit it first time, didn't seem to strike it too powerfully off his left foot. And Schmeichel made the save, moving away towards his right-hand side. Yeah,
he would have wanted to strike it much cleaner than that. I don't think it was deliberately left by Rebic. I just think it didn't come straight to his foot. It went past him there, but there's a half chance to get a shot on target, but it's got to be a lot better than that to beat Schmeichel.
Mandzukic, challenged by Jorgensen. Modric tried to play it forward, making the run into a central area was Rebic. There's a Croatia player down at the moment. That will be Mandzukic, who stayed down in the challenge in the centre circle. And so in the last minute of the first half, where it's 1-1 between Croatia and Denmark, there is going to be the physio coming on to treat him as he was challenged by Jorgensen. Pat Nevin.
Yeah, it's hard to see what was wrong with it. He went to get up and then he went back down again, so he could have been clipped, maybe a stud clipped Malleus, I think, possibly on the right hand side of his ankle there. But to be fair, there was not much in it, but what was very interesting is the player that broke through there was Luka Modric. who's now playing much further up in the 10 position. Problem is, when he gets the ball there, he gets hit. He gets much less space, and it's much harder to control the game.
So an additional 60 seconds. It's always a minimum, of course, and so with Mandzukic being treated in the additional minute, there will be further time added on as he's getting treated in the centre circle. Denmark took the lead after 57 seconds through Jorgensen for the Huddersfield Town defender, and then Mandzukic, when a rebound struck Christensen in sort of like the head, the neck area, I think it was, rebounded to Mandzukic, but he quickly pounced to fire back the equaliser. Since then, Rakitic from long range and Rebic have both tested in more or less the same attack with Schmeichel, beat them out with both occasions. Rakitic has also had a shot saved since, and Eriksson has clipped the crossbar, but it hasn't been anywhere near as entertaining as those chances make it sound.
No, it hasn't been for large parts of the game, and we were talking in some of the recent games about particularly Brazil controlling games. Now I would say it was a 10-15 minute period there that the Croatians were utterly controlling the game, and you think, well, they could really run ahead with it now. In actual fact, it's not felt like that, has it? They're not as if they are utterly dominant, creating chances. I'm not even at will, but creating a whole load of chances. This is a fairly well-balanced game now, if not a great one at the moment.
Guillaume Balaguer, when he was speaking to Mark Chapman earlier, saying you want the better teams in the latter stages of a World Cup competition. That will not include Denmark. It's 1-1. Russia are already through, and they await the winners as Perisic on the right-hand side. Mandzukic looks to return it towards him, cut out easily by Knudsen on this side. Perisic snapping at his heels, pulling at his shirt. Knudsen does well under pressure to Jorgensen. So in added on time, and the referee's going to blow his whistle. So there it is, half-time in Nizhny Novgorod. BBC Radio 5 Live, Croatia 1, Denmark 1. Denmark with the early goal inside 60 seconds. Croatia levelled. Mandzukic after 4 minutes. Pat?
Well, it's hard enough trying to follow that Russian game and the excitement at the end of that and the amazement that we had at the end of that. We thought we were going to get somewhere with it with those two early goals, but it's just fallen back into the pattern we almost expected before the game. And the Danes are playing long balls, not all the time, but most of the time, getting long throws into the box. You know the style. Now and again, Eriksson will do something a little bit special, but really the biggest disappointment is, I think Croatia have been under par. I think they should have been a lot better and brighter than this, and to be fair, I've been slightly disappointed with them.
So there we go, Mark. Croatia 1, Denmark 1, half-time in Nizhny Novgorod. Thank you, Mark. I think the jubilation is being shared all the way across Russia, certainly judging by the celebrations here in Nizhny Novgorod, even during the game, as Croatia are going to make a change at the start of this second half. Denmark are making the change at the start of the second half. It is Christensen who's gone off, and Lasse Schöne is the player who's come on. So that's the change that Denmark have made. Now he's a midfielder, so it won't be any change to the system, because Christensen of Chelsea had been playing in a holding role, but the 33-year-old for Ajax comes on for only his second appearance of the tournament so far. So he replaces Christensen as the match gets back underway, with Croatia in their dark strip, playing from right to left as we look, against the white shirts of Denmark and the red shorts. Croatia from right to left. They have Subasic in goal, Vasalko, Vida, Lovren and Strinic in defence, Brozovic, Modric, Rakitic, Rebic, Perisic and Mandzukic. And then for Denmark, Schmeichel in goal, back four of Dalsgaard, Kjær, Jorgensen the goal scorer, Knudsen, Braithwaite, Eriksson, Schöne, Delaney and Poulsen behind Cornelius. Pat Nevin.
Just watching the way they're lining up now to see if they're making any great change, and it seems a more obvious strict 4-4-2 at the moment, the way they're lining up. So Schöne's coming in, maybe Christensen was sitting in front of the defenders there. He's maybe just a more natural central midfielder who's going to sit beside Delaney in that central area there. But we'll see if that adapts throughout the game. But it's strange to see Christensen get off. He didn't do a great deal wrong to be hooked at half-time, apart from being smashed in the face with the ball, and it landed for the goal for Mandzukic.
And it was 163 seconds after Jorgensen had put Denmark ahead, and it's 1-1 between these two sides here in Nizhny Novgorod. BBC Radio 5 Live, It was a whirlwind start, and then the game really did drop off, and not much of a spectacle as these two sides were locked together. So Shona tries to get a ball forward, blocked by Rebic. You can imagine one of the highlights being to read a post from our horse racing correspondent Cornelius Lysett on social media, when he said, quite unnerving to walk into the kitchen with commentary of 5 Live, Croatia versus Denmark, only to hear Ian Dennis declare it deceived Cornelius, who wasn't ready for it. which tickled me. Hope he didn't drop his evening meal.
He's racing post, possibly.
Yeah, racing post evening meal. 2 minutes into the second half then, and in a very, very pedestrian game. You've got to agree with what Terry was saying, that this is, and I just wonder as well, I mean, there's been a debate about England, about making the changes that they did, whether you can lose momentum. Croatia made 9 changes for the Iceland game, but they haven't got into any rhythm. They haven't played with any tempo or intensity, that the way that we saw them, well, dismantle Argentina 3-0.
Yeah, and the speed that they did it was incredible. There was liveliness, understanding, everyone seemed to be working together. I mean, today we've seen very little of the link-up play between Rakitic and Modric, which we were talking about before. And at the moment, I don't know if Modric has got lots of balls actually found Rakitic yet.
Perisic, right-hand side, cross takes a deflection, takes a little bit further away from goal, and goes out of play for a goal kick. But when we were watching Spain against Russia, and you were saying to me, the tempo of Spain, it suits Russia because they're passing the ball with very little zip. You could argue the same here for Croatia. It's comfortable for Denmark.
Yeah, it is. I mean, this isn't new stuff. This has always been the case. If you're playing against a team with a good possession and they are zipping it, and you're having to chase very, very quickly to get across and cover areas, it's very, very difficult. But if they've got lots of possession and they're playing it slowly, it's a piece of cake. You just walk about and just make sure you're all as a group in positions, and they never seem to get you out of position unless someone goes and takes on a man, or else that zipping quick 1-2s happens quick. It wasn't happening with Spain today, and you're absolutely right, it's not happening to a level that you'd expect from the Croatians, and it has been quite disappointing from them.
It does happen with Croatia, where they've done it in previous tournaments where they've been excellent in the group stages. It's got to the knockout stages and they just haven't been able to rediscover their form. 4 minutes into the second half, 1-1. Modric spreads it out towards the right-hand side. Vrsaljko waits. Over the halfway line, back with Modric. The Croatian captain looks up and plays the ball up towards Mandzukic, offside. Flags up.
Do you know, one of the things is Modric was he's playing in his position at the start of the game. He's playing just in front of the right fullback because that's where the space was, and I was so impressed with it in those first 20 minutes. The thing is, he's gone there again just now, and he's gone and played the ball. Before he actually played the ball, 10 seconds, I know what ball he's going to play. He's going to try and clip it over the top to Mandzukic running onto it, and that's why I make the point to Mark when we were chatting there. If he goes and plays that ball and it works and Mandzukic scores and they win the game, then fine. The thing is, the Danes know that's what he tried to do. They know that's exactly what his first protocol is.
Here is Poulsen making a diagonal run, gets away from the challenge of Vrsaljko. Poulsen then releases the ball out towards that left-hand side. The cross from Knudsen is into the penalty area, and Cornelius will jump into Subasic, who comfortably makes the challenge. All in green, the Croatian goalkeeper away to our right-hand side, and throws it out underarm to Strinic, the left-back, plays for Sampdoria. Only made 18 appearances in Italy this year, as he now will come forward, just starting to approach almost 50 caps for his country, as Rakitic lifts it in the air. Dalsgaard will head it away in the challenge, seems to be holding Rebic there as the ball is played up towards Cornelius. Just over the halfway line, lays it back. Jorgensen, who gave Denmark the early lead inside the opening 60 seconds. Now this is Schöne, bearded midfielder, gets it back. More natural midfielder. Christensen, who has been playing in defence as well, is showing his versatility, the Chelsea player, as Schöne then just starts to use a little bit of his experience. He is 33 years of age, tells Jorgensen to come on forward, starting to link up the play in the midfield. Delaney now back with Eriksson, but Croatia have dropped back and everybody's back behind the ball.
But you know, you're right though. I think you're absolutely nailed on. Right, Schöne's actually passing the ball, and he's been not exactly creative, but he's moving a little bit quicker there, and as you say, he is a natural in that position, so it looks a more comfortable player in that position, and I think that's a positive move that they've made there. A player that wants to go on the ball, the player they expect to get possession, and maybe then the odd gap. I can't tell you how good his passing is going to be, but again, from that deep area which he's picking the ball up, it's going to have to be hell of a good if he's going to break open that Croatian defence.
Last 6 years have been with Ajax, but he spent his entire career in Holland, so he will be tidy. He'll be a technical player, will the versatile midfielder who just came off the bench against Peru in the opening game, where Denmark were fortunate to win by a goal to nil. 1-1 here on BBC Radio 5 Live. We're live in Nizhny Novgorod, and this is the setting for the quarter-final that will be between France and Uruguay in the last 8. The winners of this will travel to Sochi on Saturday for their last 8 encounter with the host nation, Russia. And we're in the 8th minute of the second half, and Croatia playing from right to left with Strinic to take it, and that's been dealt with by Dalsgaard. Cornelius overruns it. Mandzukic is back helping out. Poulsen now will take over. Poulsen plays it in front to Delaney. Poulsen, Delaney coming under pressure from the Croatians who tried to press them, but they get out of that tight spot. Back to Kerr, cross to Jorgensen. A bit of a confident start this by Denmark on the ball, and certainly helped with Schoner's introduction as a substitute. Eriksson now to Braithwaite. Knudsen invited to get onto the end of that, the left back, but he runs into his man and gives away a careless free kick on Perisic, and that will be a free kick to Croatia. One apiece.
Yeah, it was nice and tidy. Most of it was happening in deep area, and when that final ball, as we keep on saying, the hardest ball to play in the game, in the last third, it never actually looked as if it's going to get onto him there. So, even though maybe some of the Danish supporters were getting excited, I didn't see anything coming of that at all. And it really is surprising that, the Croatians certainly haven't picked up the pace in any way whatsoever. It's kind of walking pace. And when they've got the ball, the expectation is for, I think, the ball to be held up a little bit better by Mandzukic. He's been bullied off the ball tonight. He really hasn't been able to hold the ball up at all. And he'll need to do that if he's going to allow the other players, the likes of Perisic and the likes of Rebic to get on the ball. He's not doing that. They're not going to get good ball off him.
Croatia haven't won a knockout game at a major tournament since they beat Germany 3-0 in the World Cup in France in 1998. And I mentioned that they've got a history of not performing as well as they've started in the group stages. But this has been lacklustre from Croatia, who, we all, I think, were agreed ahead of the game, have been one of the more eye-catching teams.
They have been. Well, a couple of things there. Players tire as tournaments go on, and certain teams, tiredness really affects them, and especially an age thing is part of it. The other thing, if you've got one or two very, very special things about your team, and you're really good at, and it's really working, at this level, the opposition managers will suss it for the next game. So, if you're getting certain players that are on the ball all the time, and they're playing a certain ball, you'll be ready for it now. Three games into this competition, the opposition are ready. You better be ready to change again.
Rakitic to Modric, 10 yards inside his own half, across towards Vasalko, the Atletico Madrid defender, sent off against Arsenal in the Europa League semi-final. Lovren then will play it long over the head of Mandzukic, nobody making the run in behind. Jorgensen will easily tidy this up for the white shirts of Denmark, and he'll clear long. That's over the head of Cornelius, and Lovren will go back towards Subasic, the Croatian goalkeeper, away to our right-hand side, who then actually gets it out from underneath his feet, picks out Strinic, but he's quickly challenged by Schoner, and neither side at the moment can get a real stranglehold on the game. Now, here is Poulsen. Poulsen's running. Berisic sends over the cross, sliding was Vida, picked up by Braithwaite. Oh, he's mishit there. Right-footed on the half volley, mishit it, screwed well wide, goal kick, 1-1.
Yeah, he's got himself in a good position there. To be honest, Poulsen's a very interesting player. He's one of those guys who runs with the ball, and I honestly am not convinced he knows what he's going to do with it next, which can be a real bonus, because the defender hasn't got a clue either. And I think the dummy he made to go inside, he slightly slipped, and it made half a yard for him, and that's where the danger came from there. But that's the first bit of attacking pace we've seen in this second half. And look at it, it actually leads to half a chance. So both managers must be looking at the bench, particularly in Croatia, thinking, have we got anyone who can add a bit of pace here?
There's the Russian fans for you once again. Can see a number of them over the far side have taken off their shirts. swirling them around their heads. They're having to make their own entertainment because there's not much between these two sides in the stalemate of Croatia 1, Denmark 1. After Russia made it through to the last 8, as a free kick is gone in favour of Denmark, but we have got stalemate.
And that's what I mean. Hey, fortune favours the brave at this point in time. I mean, for goodness sake, you're looking down. I'm watching the coaches as much as I'm watching the actual game just now, because I'm saying, look, if you want to go out there and take this game by the scruff of the neck, you may have to change this and adapt it a little bit. Are you going to be brave enough to do that? Are you going to say, right, so-and-so is not having a good, and by the way, I could name about 6 or 7 possibly in each team, but maybe more so in the Croatian team, who aren't really doing it, who aren't really moving great just now, and say, right, shake it up a bit, make a change. One change has been made. Do you know what? Has had a positive effect on the Denmark team with Shona coming on. Not wonderfully positive, but a slightly positive effect, I'll grant.
Out towards the far side, the right for Rebic. Back in field. And then that switch by Brozovic was looking towards Perisic. He never anywhere near him. Actually went straight through to Schmeichel, but Perisic at least acknowledges the idea. As Shona, who's just sitting there now in front of that back four, gave a ball towards Jorgensen that just gave a sniff to Rebic, cleared away over that far side by Kasper Schmeichel. Jorgensen, seems a long time ago since he fired Denmark ahead inside the opening 60 seconds. Now to Kjær, fellow central defender. It's a right-footed ball out towards Poulsen, challenged in the air by Strinic, and it will be a Denmark throw over the halfway line. Cornelius tries to chest it into the path of Eriksson as he just stooped a little bit there, the tall, lumbering striker. Modric is on the ball now in a deep area of the pitch, midway through his own half, central position, out along to Vesalko, infield to Rakitic. Vesalko's making a run, Rebic is come into a central area. Vesalko's made the run, Rebic is able to turn, back out to Rakitic midway through the Denmark half. Better from Croatia, spreads it to Perisic. Left hand side, Perisic with the cross, too deep. Rakitic will try and keep it in play, but always going away from him and out for a goal kick. So on BBC Radio 5 Live, we've been playing for 59 minutes in Nizhny Novgorod. It's 1-1.
They've just played maybe 6 or 7 times in this second half. The Croatians have got the ball on the right hand side most of the time, now and again the left hand side, right full-back, left full-back position. And they're playing 70-yard balls across the field. And it's what we would call a World Cup ball. It looks absolutely great and gets you absolutely nowhere. And you think it looks lovely, and sometimes people will say, isn't that a beautiful 70-yard ball? It's not got you 2 yards further forward. And it's a bit of a scam of a ball, that one. So really disappointing at the moment. Want a lot more from the Croatians.
John Southall, our producer's just shown me the live text that says Croatia 1, Denmark 1. We peaked inside 4 minutes, we've all been there. And then underneath, Andreas Iniesta has announced his retirement from international football. And there's a post there from Gary Lineker, a footballing legend and a credit to the sport. So on a day where Spain have gone out of the competition, losing in a penalty shootout, 4-3 to the host nation Russia, Iniesta, not a surprise, has announced his retirement from the international scene. 1-1 here, Croatia against Denmark, and it's gone out of play for a throw, and it's a Denmark throw, and Croatia not really making much of an impression in the final third. And Mandzukic at the minute is he's ambling around.
Yeah, he's not the only one. He's not the. That's why I say there's 5 or 6 players out there wearing the black, or is it dark blue, of Croatia just now. And to be honest, you could take any one of them off, and they couldn't have a complaint at all.
Poulsen up against Strinic, comes on the inside of the left back, edge of the area. Poulsen going, links up with Cornelius, back to Poulsen, and he couldn't find Braithwaite. Didn't seem to have any conviction about that Danish attack as they entered the edge of the penalty area.
But that Poulsen, he's in many ways maybe the most interesting, because there was no idea in his head what he was going to do there. He was just running in a kind of vague angle towards the goal, hoping it would break his way. Do you know what? He's doing it with such pace and conviction for the effort, as opposed to where he's thinking. That might actually come off for him. It actually might come off for him, and he looks maybe the most likely at the moment.
Bearing in mind, we were saying that on the evidence of, this was before tonight's game, that Croatia were the standout team in this half of the draw. Russia, Croatia, Denmark, Sweden, Switzerland, Colombia or England. One of those nations will be in the World Cup final.
So why do you always mention England last? You do, don't you? Is it deliberate because of the bottom of the drawer, because you're trying to take the pressure off as much as possible?
It's just the way that I've
you just don't want to jinx it, do you?
I've just jotted it down.
Nah, you don't want to jinx it.
But
look, you can say it. You can actually say it. There's who in this part of the draw now, apart from Croatia, you are fearful. Who are you actually fearful of in this part of the draw?
I'm not.
Exactly.
I'm not.
And you should be able to say it.
Delaney comes forward. He's got Braithwaite ahead of him. Delaney's strong run in towards the penalty area, forced out wide. Modric went with him stride for stride, came back towards Braithwaite. Braithwaite then controlled it with his right foot, ran away off his right foot, and it petered out for a goal kick, and it still remains 1-1. We've been playing for 62 minutes. We've got 28 minutes to go to extra time.
You seem quite certain about that. That's the third time Braithwaite's got himself into a position there, and you said he controlled it. No, he didn't. He attempted to control it, and that's the downside. His work rate's been absolutely fantastic, and again you will say nothing wrong with the work rate of every single player that's playing right here for the Danes. Quality though, real question mark up front.
This is a Danish side that is unbeaten in 18 games. It's a national record since October 2016 when they were beaten at home by Montenegro. 1-1 against Croatia. 63 minutes on the clock. BBC Radio 5 Live. Wimbledon starts tomorrow. Andy Murray has pulled out today. Coverage on 5 Live and Sports Extra from 11:30. Our games tomorrow. That one in Samara will be quite tasty. Brazil against Mexico at 3, followed by Belgium against Japan at 7. Tuesday night, Colombia against England in the last 16.
I wonder if Cornelius can relax back in his home just now. I think he can, because I think Cornelius may be coming off in a minute.
Here is Rakitic, run forward from Perisic, keeps the ball on the left-hand side. Comes in field now, right-footed shot, block, comes back to Perisic. Kerr is allowed to the danger, snuffs it out behind for a corner kick to Croatia, and the Croatian supporters, there's a pocket jumping up and down with the red and white checkered shirts in the top tier, likewise at the bottom, arms being thrust up in the air. Modric is waiting for the ball to come towards him. Well, they've created absolutely zilch in open play in the second half. So they have a corner kick on the left-hand side. We're deadlocked at 1-1 in Nizhny Novgorod. It's going to be Modric to take it. It's right-footed, headed away well by Cornelius inside his 6-yard area. Ball played forward, Strinic played back out towards the left. Modric waits for the overlapping run by Strinic, uses him as a decoy. Strinic into the penalty area, comes out to Rebic, quickly closed down by Poulsen, goes up in the air, and Schmeichel, rather than catching the ball, punches it with his right hand and fists it to safety.
Yeah, it's been a bit of a feature of this World Cup. If in doubt, punch the ball. I think the goalkeepers aren't absolutely convinced with the ball, but they talk about height and distance, and he's got plenty of height, plenty of distance, and he almost hit his dad in the stand over there.
Watching on, Peter Schmeichel, 65 minutes played. It's going to be a change that Denmark are going to be making, and we can see the Nikolaj Jorgensen who's going to be coming on, so I would imagine that it will be Cornelius.
Although I think just at the last minute they've changed their mind. He's went and got the board and he's ran back. I wonder if they're going to... No, he's come back out again with the board. Jorgensen knows nothing about it, and I think they've changed their mind of which player they're actually going to make the change with. That's really unusual at the last second.
Hareide, the Norwegian coach, just on the edge of his technical area, is just making sure, and it is going to be Cornelius who comes off, so it will be like for like. So Cornelius Lycett, you can rest, you can put your feet up now and not worry, as Cornelius gets hooked. And Jorgensen, who's a 27-year-old, plays for Feyenoord, 13 goals in 34 appearances, he's 6'3". Newcastle United offered £15 million for him back in January. So let's see what Jorgensen can come on for his 34th appearance for his country.
Is it harsh to say he looks like a clone of Cornelius? He looks exactly the same as him. Same height, same build, same blonde hair. let's see if he can do a wee bit more.
The former Cardiff striker and not our horse racing correspondent on 5 Live, I hasten to add, as the ball goes out of play and out for a goal kick. We're approaching the midway point of the second half, and it's still Croatia 1, Denmark 1, where Denmark took the lead after 57 seconds. Mandzukic then levelled within 163 seconds. And apart from that, there hasn't really been much between the two sides. Certainly, there hasn't been a worthwhile chance in the second half. If you were hoping for one side just to try and seize the initiative, it hasn't happened.
I don't think Croatia looks as if they've been capable of doing it. The odd thing about Denmark is they've tried to, but are absolutely nowhere near capable so far of getting the initiative and playing anything special.
Rebic has made the run out towards this left-hand side. Free kick's gone against him. He holds onto the ball. Jorgensen tries to get it off him. But Mandzukic, I mean, he's hardly chasing anything.
No, he's not. Again, you sometimes make an excuse for a player. Is he tired, long season, maybe carrying a little injury? But he was bullied very, very early on in the game. And if you're playing up front, striker in your own, you're going to actually have to take a little bit of a hit now and again. That's part of the deal. But at the moment, there's very, very little movement for him. He doesn't believe he's strong enough. He doesn't seem to believe he's strong enough to get anything out of, either Jorgensen or Kjær. And that's one of the reasons, and it's only one of the reasons why Croatia are not firing, and they are seriously not firing at the moment.
I'd bring on Kramaric. Kalinic, the former Blackburn striker, isn't available because he's got a knock. He's down as absent on the team sheet. Here is Modric. Modric easily dispossessed by Schöne. Knudsen now makes a run from left back, the Ipswich Town player, midway through the Croatia half. Still 1-1 on BBC Radio 5 Live as we see the sight of Zlatko Dalic, the Croatian coach with his hands on his hips and his jet black hair, patrolling in that technical area. He looks quite cool and composed in comparison to Hareide, who's a little bit more animated, the Norwegian in charge of Denmark. But Denmark, midway through this second half, have got a throw. Dalsgaard towards Jorgensen. Poulsen back towards Dalsgaard, the right back coming in field now, looking to link up with Eriksson. Out towards Poulsen. Poulsen rolling the ball, goes in between two Croatian players, and they just close that gap and dispossess Poulsen, but sliding back in to try and win it back was Henrik Dalsgaard, the right back, the Brentford defender, and out of play it goes for Croatia.
But I'll tell you what, I'd applaud Poulsen more than any other player in this field right now. He's losing the ball all the time, but at least he's trying. He's trying to run between two players there. He's trying to use a little bit of his pace. And if he just needs to get through once. He was very unlucky about 10 minutes ago. He put a good ball across the front of the box, and it just didn't fall to the right person. But he looks the most likely, and by some distance he's looked the most likely. Having said that, just about to make another change, and if finally the Croatians will make a change, and sadly they'll not make the change I wanted them to make, because I wanted to see Piastri coming on. Fabulous player who's had a lot of injuries. I think he might make a difference if he gets a chance.
It's going to be the Real Madrid midfielder Kovacic who's going to be coming on. Mateo Kovacic, and Brozovic is the player who's going to be coming off. So that'll just be in the centre of midfield for Croatia. Still 1-1 with Denmark in this last 16 encounter on BBC Radio 5 Live, where we had the drama earlier with Russia knocking out Spain. I'm sure there'll be plenty of fun and frolics in Samara, Brazil, Mexico from 3 tomorrow. Belgium against Japan is the second commentary. But Marcelo Brozovic is the player who comes off. Kovacic is going to be coming on. He's appeared in every game so far as Kovacic. 2 subs in the first 2 games. Did start against Iceland then as well, the Real Madrid player. And he is going to replace Brozovic, and that is the change that is being made with 19 minutes remaining.
But you wouldn't have been surprised had it been Rebic or Perisic, any of those 3. I mean, Mandzukic, you have to keep him on because he can score you a goal, and Modric has always got a lot of creativity in him. But all the way through that midfield, it's been really down, and Rakitic has had one of the quietest games I've ever seen from him.
You mentioned Mandzukic. When Croatia are actually unbeaten in the last 22 games when he's scored, since his first goal was actually in the 4-1 defeat against England in Zagreb 10 years ago. So they've got a good record when he scored, but at the minute they just don't look like scoring. They don't even...
Neither team does. Do you know what? If this game was like the France game earlier on in the competition... Oh, wait a moment.
Poulsen comes on the inside of Strinic, back towards Jorgensen. Jorgensen with a shot, straight hits Subasic.
Finally a bit of excitement, and once again it's that guy Poulsen. When the ball comes to the right hand side, he's got pace, he's got lots and lots of pace. On this occasion he used it well, got to the byline and ended up on a shot towards the goalkeeper, and shock horror, we've finally got a shot on target. I was just going to mention this. Do you know the game just at the end of the tournament, the group stage there where France were playing, and you know the game was just played out in a very dull, boring way. This is what this looks like, as if they're just playing for a draw. You can't play for a draw, guys.
Was anyone told them I was going to say we're in the knockout stages now. I think that's the first shot on target in the second half, and it's come 18 minutes from time.
I mean, I went out for a run today this morning, and it was pretty warm. It was pretty warm, but I managed to do 40 minutes, and I ain't no spring chicken next to these guys. They should be able. This is night time. It's much cooler. They should be able to do it here.
17 minutes of normal time remaining. Still not much urgency from Croatia. Kovacic, Strinic, forward ball, easily dealt with by Kerr, went behind Perisic, and out of play it goes for a throw. Dalic, the Croatian coach, just shrugs his shoulders, arms out wide. He seems perplexed by this performance, as many do inside this stadium in Nizhny Novgorod, as it's Modric right of the centre circle, Rakitic, but it's the...
There's nothing happening, is it? There's nothing open. No one's making any runs in interesting areas. That you mentioned after 10 minutes of the second half, it looks like stalemate, and it's exactly what it looks like just now. So somebody has to adapt, somebody has to change, somebody has to be a little bit braver.
Jorgensen gets onto this ball and now runs at pace. Lovren back pedals. Infield is Poulsen. Challenge was made by Strinic. Comes back towards Jorgensen. Links up with Eriksson. Edge of the area. Gets the shot away off his right foot. Off target. I've got to say, as an observer, and I don't have the trained eye that you've got, Pat, but if one side is going to score in normal time, it will be Denmark.
Well, you took the words out of my mouth. I would say the better team right now is Denmark. They are the better team at the moment. They're not great, but they are the better team. And that shows you how far Croatia are falling in. You're looking at the midfield and saying, look, who's going to get hold of it? Who's going to say, right, come on, let's get control of this. Let's do something else, ask something else. Modric is now walking about, you know, not having any great input into the game. He's just kind of he's flitting vaguely in and out of it, whereas, you know, for 20 minutes at the start of the game he was controlling it. Now he is quite capable of still turning this game, we know that, but at the moment it doesn't look anything like it. A real disappointment of the game.
If ever there was one game that is lurching its way towards extra time, it's this. 15 minutes of normal time remaining. It's Croatia 1, Denmark 1. Poulsen trying to wriggle free. He's adjudged to have brought down Strinic, the left back, feels his shoulder, stays down on the ground on the halfway line. Kovacic wants to take the free kick quickly. Poulsen, he's only back in the side after serving a suspension, is being spoken to by the Argentinian referee, Nestor Pitana.
Harsh, I think he's just going for the ball. I don't think there's a great deal in that. But at least he's trying, at least he's working, at least he's putting himself about a bit, as they say in the business. But at the moment he's going over. I mean, he's thrown himself to the ground there, pretending that he's been hurt. It was Kovacic, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Actually, no, it wasn't.
It wasn't. Strinic.
It was Strinic. Threw himself to the ground there, and there's nothing wrong with him. And I think he's actually getting a little bit spooked because he's playing directly against Poulsen, and Poulsen's getting the better of him.
Lovren at the back for Croatia, in their change outfit, their dark shirts, dark shorts, and red socks, playing from right to left. Strinic, Kovacic, just over the halfway line. Well, the crowd is still awake at least. You could be forgiven for thinking that they'd nodded off, but they are, with the response in the background, still with us.
You could be forgiven to think something actually happened there. It didn't.
We've only had one thing that's happened throughout the whole second half. Jorgensen straight at Subasic. Here's Rakitic in between the two central defenders, floats it across to Strinic, the left back, quickly closed down by Poulsen. He drops back inside his own half. Vida. Rakitic now is almost operating as a third central defender, as the two central defenders have split. So Lovren, who's on the right-hand side of the two, comes over the halfway line. Rebic plays the ball in. Vrsaljko the low ball in, cut out by Jorgensen. Straight back to Vrsaljko, cuts it back, cleared away by Schöne. Comes out to Modric, and Modric drags it wide. Right-footed, pulled it well wide. Goal kick, 1-1. 13 minutes of normal time remaining.
And that was a decent move down the right-hand side. The sort of move you expect the Croatians to be doing every 30 seconds or so, maybe every minute or two. And we've had one in this second half, and it is massively disappointing to see that limited amount of willingness to go forward. Fullbacks aren't going forward. There's no great belief in the side just now. You know, it just shows you when they do it there, they cut that defence open quite easily.
Schöne, forward ball. Eriksson can't find Jorgensen, cut out by Vida. Modric looks to come away, closed down by Delaney. Modric towards the right-hand side, finds Rebic. All of a sudden, Croatia now looking a little bit livelier. Rebic to the edge of the penalty area, shoots left-footed, straight at Schmeichel. How much better was that? Well,
just now and again, we've had a couple of games in this tournament where it's been rotten for a long time, and then suddenly something happens and you get 15 minutes of a right good game. I'm kind of hoping that happens just now, because last couple of moves down the right hand side there from the Croatians looked as if they fancy a game of football now. Up until then it hasn't looked that way, so we'll see if that actually happens now, and see if the manager maybe makes a change and, you know, adds to that, because, you know, that started something. You've got to set the ball into some interesting areas, but once again you're just wanting it to fall if you're a Croatian to Mandzukic. Mandzukic was nowhere near.
Here is Kerr, he's walking, is Kerr. Comes back towards him again, strokes it across towards Jorgensen, and Jorgensen goes with a back pass towards Schmeichel. Danish goalkeeper all in yellow away to our left-hand side, right-footed. Schöne flicks it on with his head. Poulsen up against Strinic, and then he's quickly closed down by Kovacic, the substitute. Strinic then will get a throw for Croatia, comes back towards him, he advances a few more yards. It wasn't from there. Referee quite rightly says, you get back. He was almost up towards the halfway line. And we've got 11 minutes remaining of normal time on BBC Radio 5 Live.
The referee got a bit of a shock. They almost tried to take a quick free kick, or a quick throw, and they've not done anything else quick in the second half. And maybe there's fear. You've got to say that must be part of it as well. I mean, the big thing about these competitions, if you make a mistake, if you're the player who makes a mistake, and your country goes out, you might play 600, 700, 800 games in your career. You might score loads of goals and do brilliant things. If you're the one who makes a mistake here, that is what you are remembered for the rest of your life, not career, life.
But isn't that where you want your players to be brave?
Yeah, exactly, and they should be, but that sometimes affects some players. I mean, the very good players are exactly the opposite of that. The very good players think, no, this can affect the rest of my life because I will be remembered this for the right reasons. There's not enough players that seem to be thinking that down there. I'm trying to see, is that a water break? Everyone's coming over just now for a drink, so...
They're also going to make a change. Dalic, the Croatian coach, has just beckoned, looked like the 22. Pivaric, who's going to be coming on, who's a defender. So now whether Strinic is struggling, because he's primarily a left-back, but they were keen to make the change.
Yeah, there's a bit of a sigh, because you want any changes to be made to be very positive, but he's not got a choice there. There's no doubt that he's injured. He's definitely injured, so he's going to have to come off.
They've used every player, by the way, in their squad. 21 of the 23, Livakovic and Kalinic, the third choice goalkeeper, and the former Blackburn Rovers striker who's not available for selection. Pivaric then is going to come on to replace Ivan Strinic, so it is like for like. It is a forced and an enforced change. So Pivaric, who plays for Dynamo Kiev, missed out on Euro 16 through a knee injury. He comes on, so that's the second change that they've made. If we do go to extra time, of course, you can have the extra substitute as the white shirts of Denmark and Delaney come forward, and we've got 9 minutes of normal time remaining. I did say a long time ago this was going to go to extra time.
Yesterday. Do you know, and even the biggest disappointment is you're not even getting any long throws from the Danes at this point in time. They're not even getting in position to get those long throws, to get a little bit of excitement even out of that. And it's come to a bad situation when that's what you're pleading for.
Kerr goes over the top, It was a ball that was dropping over the right shoulder of Jorgensen, but just wouldn't drop close enough to him. One bounce and into the arms of Subasic. Can we just fast forward now to penalties? Save everybody some time.
Well, do you know that if they played the 30 minutes extra time like this, it's just dire. You're right, the fast forwarding's a good idea.
Kovacic is over the halfway line, quickly closed down. Poulsen has given away a free kick. It's a free kick to Croatia. 8 minutes of normal time remaining.
Just the way he went down there, I wonder if he's done something to his shoulder there. It seems to have, was dragged behind him and he fell at an unusual angle. I don't think it's dislocated. Well, it might be. He's in a lot of pain with that right shoulder there. Just the way he was writhing about. You know, the ones that are kind of not really injured roll. The ones that are injured kind of react sometimes like that. He looked in a lot of pain when he went down there.
Kovacic at the moment is just getting some treatment to his right shoulder. The way that he fell, only came on with 19 minutes remaining. We've got 8 minutes of normal time left now. They've already had to make one change because the left back Škrinić has just gone off through injury. There's some concern down there. Mandzukic and Lovren, as well as Perisic, are also having a standing over the Real Madrid midfielder. So this will add a little bit of added on time. Tomorrow, Brazil, Mexico, Belgium, Japan are our two commentaries on BBC Radio 5 Live. They kick off at 3 and 7 o'clock. Wimbledon, of course, starts tomorrow. Comprehensive coverage across the BBC. Live coverage on 5 Live and Sports Extra from 11:30. And Michael Owen is Robbie Savage's guest on his World Cup breakfast show that's back at 8:30. But you'll be hearing from Rachel Burden. I imagine she's back in Moscow ahead of England's game on Tuesday night, where I'm told our pitch-side reporter will be a certain Terry Butcher.
If he's woken up by then.
Can you imagine if the game Colombia-England's as bad as this? Terry will throw off the headphones, ditch the microphone, and he'll run on with a clenched fist saying, "Come on, boys."
He'll be shouting from behind the goal, don't worry about that.
What an inspiration that could be as they go up for a corner kick. To see the sight of your former England captain urging them on. He'll be a cheerleader. But get big, a pitch-side reporter. 6.5 minutes to go of normal time. 1-1. Rakitic. Cross towards this side, the near side, the left back. The substitute flicks it on. Looping header comes in from Perisic, and it's onto the roof of the net and out of play it goes for a goal kick.
A little bit better there. Kovacic has come back on the park. He's certainly not dislocated his shoulder, so he should be okay. Half chance, not even about a third of a chance, that one, no more than that. Very few players from that sort of position generally get it on target. He's about 6 yards in front of the goalpost and ball was zipped in. If your name's Olivier Giroud, you can probably get that on target. Very few others. And why are you laughing?
Schmeichel clears. I'm just smiling because I just know this is going to go to extra time and then penalties. Perisic wants to take the throw quickly. He breaks out into a jog, does Mandzukic. Turns, crosses the ball, edge of the area. Rebic. Right corner of the box. Modric waits just outside the penalty area. Vasalko provides an outlet behind him. The right back is forward. Rebic now runs back towards the touchline, drilled in low. Perisic was there, cleared by Jorgensen.
The other thing about the Croatians, they get the ball wide into position, you think, okay, get it into the box. Mandzukic is waiting there, but they're very reticent to do that because they feel as if he's not got the height and the power to beat the defenders he's up against just now. But then they're not doing anything intricate through the middle either. So you've got to do something that's going to create a chance or a goal.
It's a stinker of a game, but this World Cup has just been so enjoyable that I'm still enjoying it, even though there's nothing to actually enjoy. As Kovacic keeps the ball in play with the back heel, almost gets in Perisic. Schöne was alive to the danger, out of play it goes for a throw. A little bit of noise you can hear is from the Croatians behind that goal. They take it quickly. Pivaric, the left back. Perisic with the cross. It's deep inside the penalty area. Rebic will get there. Knudsen is tightly marking him, able to turn. Rebic facing goal now, twists one way, gets away from him, pulls it back. Perisic with a first time shot blocked. It's going to come out towards Pivaric, and it takes a deflection and just drops behind for a corner kick. 1-1. Get excited.
Yeah, real quality down the right hand side there. And you're watching that sort of skill there. He's turned his full back inside out. That's the only description you can possibly make of that little bit of jinking play down the right hand side there. And then the next thing he says, why have you not tried that before? Not why didn't you do it before, why didn't you even try it before? Because he's not tried it before yet. He's absolutely skinned them down there and created a chance.
Modric then to take the corner kick. Under 4 minutes remaining. Modric, right-footed. Poulsen and Kerr both went for the same ball. It's headed back in by Rakitic and gathered easily by Schmeichel. At some point it's going to dawn on me that we're up at about 6:30 in the morning for a 12-hour train journey. At some point that is going to kick in. As,
you'll be fine. You always do that.
What's the time, local time? Is that 11:15 now? It is 11:15 now. Still I can't stop smiling. It's weird. Schöne out to Eriksson, right hand side, down towards the corner flag, playing from left to right. Eriksson rolls it back. Poulsen, first time cross, is low, cut out only as far as Schöne. Schöne with the effort, right footed, drops about a foot wide of the far left hand post, out for a goal kick. 1-1.
Oh come on, you didn't believe it, did you?
No.
No, you didn't, did you? Absolutely not. It's got to a position there where in other games you think he might ping that one. It was like the French goal, the Pavard goal that he scored, exactly the same position. You didn't see the Pavard goal coming there, did you?
No.
Absolutely not been one of those games. But again, down the right hand side, a little bit better from the Danes. This time for once it actually didn't involve Poulsen.
Headed forward by Schöne. Poulsen caught by Pivaric, who didn't seem to know where the ball was. Comes out towards Mandzukic, who's actually inside his own half on this near side, the left, as they play from right to left. 2 minutes remaining.
The other guy, is a big disappointment, and I don't know whether to blame him or not. Christian Eriksen's been really, really quiet. Not had any major impact in the game at all, not picking up in dangerous areas. Again, maybe a long season, and he has had a long season, but it's been quiet, hasn't it? It's been very, very quiet.
And Modric had an influence in the first half, but we've not really seen much of Modric in this second half.
And not even in that position, in the deep areas where pinging the balls forward, etc. I think he realised what I was saying right at the start of the second half. Yeah, go and pick it up for the centre half and play a 90-yard ball if you want to. It's okay, the centre halves are waiting for it. They know you're going to do that. So that ball wasn't on anymore, and it's as if he thought, well, I don't know what else I'm going to do today, because I've not got Cristiano Ronaldo in front of me, I've not got Benzema in front of me, I've not got those sort of players in front of me.
Lovren goes for the run with Eriksson, gets a little nudge in the back. Lovren turns, clears, out of play it goes for a throw. About to enter the last 60 seconds of normal time. It's still Croatia 1, Denmark 1. Knudsen is actually holding the ball in one hand.
We've finally got the long throw we've been crying out for.
It's a vice-like grip. He's just clawed it with his right hand, and he waits. He's up against the advertising hoardings, and Croatia have everybody back. So we're inside the last 60 seconds of normal time. It's 1-1, and the Ipswich Town defender is going to launch it long. In it comes now from that left-hand side, and goes over the head of everybody and rolls out of play.
Yeah, and he's going to have to run about 90 yards
to
to
go
go
for a Denmark throw again.
all the way over to the other side to do the long throw again from this side. Nothing wrong with that at all. If ever a game deserved to be decided by a scruffy goal in the last minute for a long throw, this is it. This is absolutely it.
It would be a hat-trick of scruffy stroke scrappy goals, because the first two were certainly that. It was 1-1 inside 4 minutes. It's still 1-1, and we're about to have the 90-minute mark reached. Knudsen with the long throw as we enter stoppage time, cleared away by Kovacic. 3 minutes of added on time, which we're now into. I can probably hear the groans from, I don't know how far we are from Moscow. We're east of Moscow, aren't we, in Nizhny Novgorod? Told it was late. But I can hear the groans from Messrs Chapman and Butcher as Mandzukic comes into the centre circle and chips it across towards Vasalko.
I'll tell you who I can hear the groans from. The Russian fans are in here who want to get out and celebrate.
They'll just go.
Yeah, they'll
just leave. Modric short of the halfway line. Vasalko the right back to Lovren. Well,
I'm going to ask you a question. If it was you and you were Russian, would you go?
Oh yeah. If I was Russian, I wouldn't have turned up. I'd be with my mate Yevgeny, knocking back the vodkas. Lovren strokes it towards Vida.
Things you do at breakfast.
No, it's champagne at breakfast. The central defender goes back to Rakitic on the halfway line to Modric. Modric midway through the Denmark half. Vaselko, diagonal ball into the penalty area, headed away by Dalsgaard. Picked back up then by Rakitic. Is he going to let one fly? He is, and it's wide. Goal kick, 1-1.
Yeah, 2 or 3 in the last few minutes have decided they want to try and win the game. They can't face the extra time either. But it was a long way out, and once again you always say it. I know there were 1 or 2 bad mistakes by Kasper Schmeichel at the end of last season, weren't there? But it's got to be something special to beat him most times from that sort of distance.
Yep, he had it covered as the Leicester City goalkeeper downfield away to our left-hand side. We're about to enter the last 60 seconds of added on time. It's still Croatia 1, Denmark 1. Eriksson, left corner of the penalty area, left-hand side, fires it across towards Jorgensen. Vida had made the run back across and heads it out of play, and it's gone behind for a corner kick. Denmark have got one last opportunity. The big men come up from the back. Kjær, Jorgensen, Croatia have everybody back. This, remember, is the right to meet the host, Russia. Croatia. Some people's tips as the dark horses for the competition. Some fancied them in this week half of the draw. They've got to defend this to take us to extra time. Denmark comes across, Subasic punches it away, fired back in, Brian Braithwaite, and drops just wide. Goal kick, that should be it, because my watch says we're almost up and out of time. 1-1, 5 live here in Nizhny Novgorod.
That's the best moment from Braithwaite. He's had 3 or 4 little half chances. He hasn't got anything on target. He didn't get that one on target either. However, he kept it down there, he volleyed it, the keeper was going away. Had it just been a yard inside, the keeper could not have got back for it, and this game would have ended with seconds to go, and you'd have got home 30 minutes earlier.
So
home, I mean, hotel. The
3 minutes of added on time are up, and we have extra time. So just like Spain against Russia in the Luzhniki earlier, that went to extra time and ultimately penalties, in Nizhny Novgorod, after a bright start, the game has certainly petered out since then, and Mark Chapman, it is 1 apiece after the regulation 90. Yeah, I know exactly how that feels as well, when you've had the glare from Lady Kelly. As we're back underway. By the way,
left the mic up there, guys.
Yeah, you've left the mic up. Let's close the mic. Back in the studio.
I think that was possibly deliberate there, don't you?
Mark and Terry haven't fallen asleep, but the studio engineer clearly has. Anyway, we're back underway in this extra time, where it's Croatia 1, Denmark 1. And Denmark, white shirts, red shorts, playing from right to left as we look. Neither side has made a change at the start of extra time. Schöne to Jorgensen. I'll run through the teams for you if you're still with us. Eriksson across towards Knudsen. The left back level with the penalty area. Crosses deep into the penalty area. Poulsen's header back across the face. It's going to come out towards Schöne. Leaps in the air, brings it down off his chest. Mandzukic has gone down holding his face. The referee hasn't spotted anything, but if it's a head injury, he's got to surely stop play. As Delaney fires one in, and it's put out of play, and now Mandzukic, who I don't believe is injured as badly as he's trying to make out, for 1 minute, 1 iota. However, the referee will stop play, and it means that Subasic is in goal. Vaselko, Vida, Lovren and Pivaric is the defence now. Rakitic, Kovacic, Modric, Perisic and Rebic the midfield behind Mandzukic. And for Denmark, in their white shirts and red shorts, they have Schmeichel, who get the old rallying call to break from their huddle at the start of extra time. Dalsgaard, Kjær, Jorgensen, Matthias Jorgensen that is, at the heart of the defence with Knudsen. Braithwaite, Eriksson, Schöne, Delaney and Poulsen, because Nikolai Jorgensen is now playing up front for the Danes. Mandzukic is back on his feet. It is going to be a throw to Denmark, and it's on the right-hand side, which means that Knudsen is going to pick it up. It's going to be another missile that is launched in here on that right-hand side.
This is where the goal was scored from, exactly this position.
Yes, it was.
Which seems like about 8 hours ago.
So, Knudsen with the throw, in it comes now, making its way in towards the penalty area. Mandzukic's header drops towards Schöne, a couple of deflections off the body of Vaselko, and out of play it goes for a Denmark throw. When I said it's a missile, that's quite apt, because in World War II this place, Nizhny Novgorod, was the biggest provider of military equipment. When that was, and after the war it was then named Gorky as a closed city before it was renamed Nizhny Novgorod in 1990.
because it rolls off the tongue so much easier.
That's when you're tired and it's late at night.
I mean mine as well.
Knudsen has come across from the right-hand side to the left to take it. It's going to be another long throw for Denmark. We're 1-1. It's a flat ball that comes in. Headed away by Rebic inside the penalty area. Headed back. Poulsen tries to get there. Subasic gathers the ball in. All in green away to our left-hand side. First period of extra time on BBC Radio 5 Live. Croatia 1, Denmark.
Well done. Actually, Denmark, given the due, they've actually started the first part of extra time much better, really lively, and trying to get up the park, getting plenty of players up for those couple of long throws there. It didn't lead to anything, but at least they're showing a bit of liveliness about the start of this game, the start of this extra time. Actually, they started the first half of the game not dissimilarly to this. Let's see if we can get a goal.
Sure enough. Inside the Croatia half, Croatia have been dreadfully disappointing. They made the 9 changes for Iceland, their final group game. They'd already qualified. They then made the 9 changes back again today. Rested players, they've looked very tired, very flat, very disjointed, particularly in the second half. And as the game has wore on, they've got to try and awake from their slumbers as it's still 1-1. Schöne out towards the far side. Dalsgaard. Braithwaite will be beaten to the ball by Vida. Vida then gives it away. Dalsgaard will play it forward. Eriksson finds the space behind Vida. Eriksson with a cross, right hand side. Braithwaite brings the ball under control, clips it in, right footed, headed away by Lovren. Denmark still attacking. Knudsen manages to get free. Knudsen keeps his balance in the penalty area, looks up, and then it was blocked by Lovren, and it goes behind. And Knudsen just needed a better ball back in.
Do you know what? Knudsen stays on his feet there. If he doesn't stay on his feet, I think he gets a penalty kick. He's so honest about that, and I applaud him for being so. There's plenty of players that have gone down there. The tackle didn't get anywhere near the ball. He could have got a penalty kick there, because I think there was contact.
This Denmark side, very pragmatic. But if anybody's going to, as we said in the second half, is anybody going to score? Anybody's going to take it now in extra time? It looks like it'll be the Danes. 5 minutes in the first period. Croatia 1, Denmark 1. Eriksson to take it, near side the left. It's a right-footed corner kick. Subasic was beaten to it by Lovren. Headed behind for another corner kick. It's gone out just the other side of the corner flag on this near side. It'll be a throw that Eriksson, quite rightly, is just going to wait for Knudsen to take it.
Yeah, yes. There was this moment there where he just thought to himself, do I really want to run that 50 yards there to take the throw? Absolutely you do, and if at least a goal, he'll be happy he did.
It's going to be another long one to be hurled in by Denmark in this first period of extra time. Here he comes, Knudsen hurls it in now. Poulsen was up there, reaches Nikolai Jorgensen far side of the penalty area. Eriksson across. Kerr didn't bother jumping up in the air. It won't go out of play behind. It will still be a Croatian throw right down by the corner flag.
That's a good start. I mean, we're 5 minutes into this extra time there. There's been about 3 or 4 long throws. Actually, there have been 4 long throws in there. Of course, all sorts of worries and fears in that Croatian defence there. It just needs something to, even if it hits off the back of somebody's head and falls into a dangerous area. The Croatians will finally make another substitution. I think it's kind of long overdue. We've been waiting for it for quite some time. And off will come Perisic.
So Kramaric is the player who's come on for Perisic. Mandzukic stays on the field. Because of course they'll be thinking now of likely takers, even this early stage, I'm sure, 7 minutes into the first period. So the former Leicester City striker, Andre Kramaric, who now plays for Hoffenheim, comes on to the field of play as Perisic makes way. Still 1-1. Mark Chapman has been substituted, and the lady with the glare will be taking over in the studio, ready for the World Cup daily podcast that you'll be able to download from the usual providers in the morning. Don't forget the Robbie Savage breakfast show as well at 8:30. There's going to be another change. Denmark are going to make a change as well. Krundeli is going to be coming on. 35 years of age. He's the oldest player in the Danish squad. So he's going to add further experience to that midfield for Denmark. So we'll see who he is going to replace as we're midway through the first point of this first period of extra time. Croatia 1, Denmark 1. And the player who's going to be coming off is Thomas Delaney.
Actually, he's kind of had a workman-like display in that kind of central midfield area. They have been playing parts of the game as almost a 4-4-2, and that means there'll be two central midfielders there. So it is a shift that you need to do in there, and sometimes that's all you do, is you close down, you make sure the people don't get space, especially if you're playing against someone like Modric. And he's done that job fairly well, without doing anything sparkling going forward.
It's his first appearance at this tournament for Michael Crone-Daly. Plays for Deportivo La Coruña, recently relegated from La Liga. His 59th appearance for his country, as Eriksson wants the ball on the halfway line, but he's not going to be given it because Kjær goes long. Nikolaj Jorgensen heads it down. Schöne gets the shot away, right-footed, always going away from goal as it bounced in front of the left-hand post as we look, and out of play for a goal kick.
It's actually now very, very obvious Denmark are by a long way the better side. And since the start of this extra time, I do not think that Croatia have really got out of their half with good possession at any point in time. So utter domination from the Danes. They're getting into good areas. Usually it's not the most sophisticated football getting there, but you just wonder if they can get the ball to maybe a free kick, a place where they can get their top man Eriksson on the ball, that he can maybe have a shot from 25 yards. That might be the difference.
Pivaric in possession on that far side. Kramaric and Kovacic wanted to try and get things moving. Here is Modric. At the risk of the curse of the commentator, the Croatians look shot as a team, and I find it baffling, bearing in mind they made the 9 changes. But they've lacked there's been no cohesion.
Now, the players that you want to see playing with each other, Rakitic always wants to play good balls with Modric. They've got great understanding with each other when they play international football. They look as if they haven't even been formally introduced out there tonight. It's very, very strange to see that, as if they're falling out or something. Sure, they haven't done, but the guys that you want to work together. Modric early on was trying to find Mandzukic all the time, realised that he wasn't finding space, and then that stopped, and suddenly totally just disjointed. So it doesn't mean they're not going to win the game. They might still get through, and they might get better in the next game if they do get through, but they looked really poor so far in this game.
Kramaric gets the ball out towards the left-hand side to Pivaric, and Croatia will win a throw. So with the two substitutes now linking up on that far side, the left, Croatia do have fresh legs on that left-hand side. Under 5 minutes to go to half-time. The Russian supporters have stayed with this game, which, believe me, has been very, very hard at times. Rakitic in possession, 10 yards inside the Denmark half. The white shirts of Denmark, everybody back behind the ball. Vida to Lovren. Basalko, he's hardly get forward on the right-hand side, the right back, which he was doing in the first half.
Well, that's a very good point, actually, because sometimes if you have got a very static game, you're going to say to your fullbacks, well, you make the difference. You're the guy who's going to go and fly outside, the white players come inside and ask different questions. Not really seen that happen at all. I mean, Strinic hasn't done it at all. Pivaric has done it very, very seldomly, and certainly when they've done it, they've not actually got crosses in.
Kramaric looks for the ball forward. Both Rebic and Mandzukic both go for the same ball, and as a result, when then Mandzukic hooks it in, there's nobody there to get on the end of it. It's actually kept alive by Basalko, but in fact offside on that far side. Mandzukic just had a go there at Rebic.
Well, at least Rebic made the effort to get in the box with him. The ball's cut back there. Do you see how close the next Croatian player was? There's two of them in the box. The next Croatian player wasn't closer than about 50 yards away. You're trying to get yourselves into the latter stages of the World Cup, and yes, I understand it's late in the game, and yes, I understand there's tiredness, but somebody can make an effort to go and get in there, because had someone taken a chance, they may have had a tap in there.
Headed back by Lovren to Sivisic, the goalkeeper. Thought about throwing it out first time. He'll hurl it across towards that far side. Pivaric, Kovacic is there if he wants. Instead, the ball is played forward up towards Mandzukic, easily dealt with by the header of Jorgensen. Kovacic. Pivaric now joins the attack. The left back, midway through the Denmark half. BBC Radio 5 Live. 1-1 between Croatia and Denmark. Modric in the centre circle. Kramaric in the central area now. Will switch play back out towards that far side, the left. Pivaric will pop it into the path of Kovacic, the Real Madrid midfielder, back out to the left back. Denmark have fouled back, white shirts, just keeping their shape. And here is Kramaric. Kramaric hoisted again out towards that far side. Dalsgaard, the right back, certainly not lacking in height at 6'3", heads it away comfortably. And Denmark now with Dalsgaard will clear downfield. And when I said about half an hour, 40 minutes ago, just fast forward to penalties. Kavaricia repeats up towards Kramaric in the penalty area, brings it down under control. Kramaric now with the angle tight, lifts it across, and it's touched behind by Schmeichel. He had to be very watchful and just tipped it behind over the crossbar for a corner kick, because that was dropping.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely wasn't a deliberate effort on goal. It's meant as a cross, and whether it's taken a little bit of a deflection when it's come over here, yes, it has taken a deflection. The cameraman on the 18-yard line has caught that perfectly. His name is Liam. I do my research.
Corner kick on that far side. It's still 1-1. Croatia. Modric swings it over, headed away by Braithwaite. Lovren can't control it. Snapped away by Kerr. Pivaric to Modric, just in from the left touchline. Croatia attacking with Modric outside of the right foot, goes behind for another corner kick as we enter the last 60 seconds in the first period of extra time on BBC Radio 5 Live.
So when's the last time you seen Modric get the ball in that position there, right on the edge of the box, where you want to see Luka Modric with the ball, and he tries to play an outside of the right foot ball into the box? Is exactly the right thing to do. You've been waiting for that for well, getting on towards 2 hours now.
Modric up against the advertising hoardings. In comes the corner kick, aimed towards the near post, headed away, didn't beat the first man. Henrik Dalsgaard, standing tall, heads it away, out for a Croatian throw. And we'll find out how much added on time there will be. Croatia with the throw on the left-hand side to Modric, hooks it into the penalty area, and not kept in play. Behind it goes for a goal kick. There won't be long, if anything.
There was a little Mandzukic went down for a moment just at the start of the game, didn't he? So he was for an extra 1 minute. This is 1 minute.
So we're into the 1 minute of added on time now. Oh, spasibo. Very kindly, a lady has just walked behind me and given me a bottle of water for our commentary position. So that went down, was very, very well received.
Absolutely.
Sisto is going to be coming on, the fourth substitution that Denmark are going to be making. Now he's lively.
I was surprised he didn't start, I have to say. I was really surprised he didn't start. He might make a change these last 15 minutes.
So we're in added on time. Cross from the left-hand side. Mandzukic brings it down. Here is Modric. Modric central area. Tries to get a sight of goal. Shifts it onto his right foot. Looks to link up with Rebic. Into the penalty area. Modric with his back to goal. Able to turn. Plays it in low. Cleared away by Jorgensen. Out of play. Goes for a throw.
Once again, Modric has decided he's getting involved in the play up the right end of the field now, where he can maybe do some damage, but it's clear that he's actually now very tired. So it's difficult for him to do that at this point of the game.
Dancing around the ball, Modric, and dancing too late as he then kicks it away rather lazily, and frustrated figure Modric as he now rests on his knees, because half-time in extra time, BBC Radio 5 Live, Croatia 1, Denmark 1. That World Cup daily podcast, Kelly Cates, is going to have to wait a little bit longer. Anyway, we'll see. But they've made a change of Denmark. And it's Sisto who's coming on, and like Pat, I was surprised he didn't start. He started all three games as the Celta Vigo player. He's skillful, he's pacey. Could be easily described as one of the most exciting players in the Danish squad. But anyway, we're back underway, 1-1, second period of extra time. Kramaric is on the attack for Croatia in their dark shirts, playing from right to left. Kovacic now comes inside, takes a deflection, falls to Mandzukic, tried to tear it up towards Modric, cleared by Poulsen. In the air, Modric with Eriksson, and out towards Sisto. And Sisto straight away is coming forward. Oh, he's like a breath of fresh air. Give the ball to Sisto, diagonal ball. Nikolai Jorgensen into the penalty area, and he tries to cut it back into the box towards Eriksson. And it's cleared away by Pivaric, the left back, and out of play it goes for a Denmark throw. Pat Nevin, 1-1.
Well, the analogy you always think in those ones, a substitute comes on, and it's almost like a boxing round, a new round, and they start really quick at a heavyweight. The first 20 seconds, and then it fades away, and they just go back into a slugfest again. Let's hope that's not the case with Sisto. Let's hope he gives us 15 lightning minutes here.
Croatia are going to make their fourth and final change in extra time. BBC Radio 5 Live. Eriksson chips the ball back towards Kerr. Bardelli's going to be coming on, the midfielder for Fiorentina. Tends to normally play as a deep line midfielder. The number 19, who's just limbering up, rotating his hips, adjusting his shorts, moving from side to side with his bright orange boots. Down below as Prondelli slides it forward. Sisto into the penalty area, lively character, turns inside the box, gets the shot away, and it was curling and wide.
Okay, Sisto, man of the match. He's been on he's on 2 minutes. He's done 2 great things so far, and as you say, completely livened the match up. You can see he's got pace there. You can see his willingness to get on the ball and run at players, and that's been one of the biggest disappointments in this game so far. There's nobody really being willing to run at their opposite number, their fullback, take them on and ask questions of defenders, other than Poulsen now and again, a few times in the game.
Well, Bardelli is actually going to replace the pedestrian Mandzukic, who is just sloping off the field of play. It's the quickest he's moved all night. So the 29-year-old midfielder is coming on for a striker. So I would imagine that there's going to have to be either Kramaric or maybe Rebic will move into that central area where Mandzukic was playing. There's talk, by the way, that he's out of contract for Fiorentina, and with Manchester City, I don't think they've done the deal yet for Jorginho, have they, of Napoli? But there's talk that he's going to go to Naples to replace the Manchester City-bound Jorginho. But 3 minutes into the second period of extra time on BBC Radio 5 Live, all 4 substitutes have now been used. Croatia 1, Denmark 1, and Modric chips it across towards that far side. Veselko, the right back, is forward. Kovacic makes the run behind him. Here is the Real Madrid player, finds Modric forward, straight away involved in the action is Bardelli, unable to take the ball into his feet and to get a shot away is Poulsen now for the white shirts of Denmark over the halfway line, finds Schöne, Eriksson goes back. This is extra time. Tomorrow's offerings, Brazil-Mexico from Samara. It's where the Volga River will also, of course, the locals bathe there on the beach, that 3-mile stretch in that very pleasant city. Brazil-Mexico at 3, Belgium-Japan at 7. Wimbledon starts tomorrow as well. Here is Nikolai Jorgensen, unable to hold the ball, gets a second chance because Vida couldn't control it. The white shirts of Denmark are back in possession. 10 minutes remaining. Poulsen goes back to Dalsgaard, but it's just safety first from both sides.
Yeah, but you will see the Danes have actually got players on there. Poulsen's willing to get the ball, he's still got some energy left, and this man on the ball, Sisto, he'll try and run with it. However, he's lost it this time. But do you believe that the Croatians will get enough energy to break? No.
It's been very, very surprising, bearing in mind the 9 changes for Iceland. But they just seem to have ground to a halt, Croatia, which Croatian supporters will tell you is par for the course in the knockout stages. That's what they do in the knockout stages of major tournament football. They start brightly and fade, but boy have they faded. And there is nothing to fear on the evidence of what we've seen tonight should they go through to meet Russia in the quarter-finals. Do not rule out the host nation continuing in this competition. Pivaric, the left-back, forward, left-hand side, level the penalty area, rolls it back to Rakitic, very deep Rakitic, now coming forward to Modric, left corner of the penalty area. Modric does a little step over, drifts out towards the left-hand side. Pivaric is behind him, works over the cross now. Jorgensen will head it up, and it's flicked away. I always think when it gets to this stage of a game, and it hasn't been great, and I'm thinking of any game, not just a World Cup game, I then want to have a penalty shootout. I want to have the drama. I don't want to go to the last minute of extra time after having to endure this and then miss out on a penalty shootout. If we're going to go this way, let's just go the whole hog.
Yeah, I'm with you 100% there. And I mean, even the two teams playing as poorly and as dully and with any imagination, even they couldn't make a penalty shootout, so at least you're going to get some excitement.
Mind you, I remember being in Cologne in 2006. I think it was voted the worst game in history, World Cup history. Ukraine against Switzerland. And there was hardly... Switzerland didn't have a shot on target. In the penalty shootout, they were exactly the same. They lost, I think, 3-0 to Ukraine. It was desperate. So it hasn't been as bad as this tonight. Not far from it at times, I agree. But with 8 minutes remaining of extra time, 1-1, I mean, at least we had the frantic start where Denmark scored within 60 seconds. And then Mandzukic equalised within 163 seconds, did I write down? As it's going to be a long throw for Denmark, almost level with the penalty area. The supporters inside the stadium here in Nizhny Novgorod are applauding, hoping that something's going to happen. Knudsen is going to take it. It's going to be another long one that's going to be launched. Here he comes now, drops inside the penalty area, headed on by Kerr, flicked in, and then by Jorgensen, well off target for a goal.
That's the quality problem, isn't it? You know, he's got the ball there, he's at an angle there, there is no shot on there. There is absolutely no shot on there. He's got two players between him and the goal. He's at an absolutely terrible angle. He's falling backwards off it. There's no shot on. Don't try it. You know, get the ball back into the danger area where you've got big men still up there and you might have another half a chance. And that's where they're kind of letting themselves down slightly, Denmark, because if they recycle that better with those balls into the box, that's where they'd have possibly got more chances.
I don't know whether it's the bad Blue Boys contingent of the Croatia support away to our left-hand side, but their energy levels are high as they jump up and down with their Croatian red and white checkered shirts away to our left-hand side. Under 7 minutes of extra time are remaining. We're in the second period. It is still Croatia 1, Denmark 1, and the ball is played back to Subasic, who will clear it out to play on this near side for a Denmark throw.
Which was absolutely dreadful. I mean, Five Live is so fair that I'm sure Five Live will try and get, I was going to say some chin stroker in, somebody who actually will go and try and tell you it's a great game.
Modric forward ball, pierces the Denmark defence, Rebic goes around the goalkeeper, brought down, penalty surely, it's got to be a penalty awarded. How can you protest that, Kasper Schmeichel? Rebic had gone round the goalkeeper, he was surely going to score. The fact that he actually made a challenge will mean he should be shown a yellow card. But that was a certain goal. And so when we were looking towards a penalty shootout, it will be a penalty to settle this game. It was a piercing ball by Modric. Rebic was away. And Jorgensen brings him down. It will go to VAR. They are checking the foul.
No, it's got to be a penalty. You've got it right, Ian. It's got to be a penalty there, because I was just wondering if he got a toe to it, but now he's got plenty of the player as well. I think the referee might be tempted to go over and look at it.
Jorgensen shown the yellow card. If Denmark go through, he will miss. The Huddersfield Town defender will miss the quarter-final. However, they might not be going through because Croatia have been awarded a penalty. The VAR check is over. The penalty stands. Denmark continue to protest, but you can't protest because Rebic he'd gone round the goalkeeper.
So it wasn't an obvious deliberate trip. He was definitely going for the ball, and he very, very nearly got the ball. His toe was inches away from it. We've got another angle here we're just about to see, and his toe is inches away. He doesn't get it. It's a penalty kick. The referee's got that one right, as has the VAR.
Luka Modric is holding the ball under his arm, his right arm. He has scored 2 goals in this competition so far. Luka Modric places the ball down just when we thought it was going to a penalty shootout to decide who goes through to the quarter-finals. It will be settled by 1 penalty, maybe. 4.5 minutes of extra time remaining. Modric, hands on hips, against Kasper Schmeichel. Modric runs up now, right-footed, Schmeichel makes the save! It was low, it was to the right, and Schmeichel moves away to his left-hand side, holds on to the ball. The Croatians are thwarted, and Denmark are still fighting, and we will still have a shootout after all. And what psychological advantage now could that give the Danes?
So you're looking at it now, and it's a great save. He's probably moved early. Question remains, he's taking a player out there. It's just about to be hit, and should it be a red card, not a yellow? That's what a lot of the players are suggesting. But it's that double jeopardy, isn't it? You've made an attempt at the ball. It is a clean attempt at the ball.
Here is Eriksson coming forward. It's the reason why we outlined it in commentary. I said it at the time. Jorgensen made an attempt to play the ball. It was a tackle. The rules have changed. Therefore, it was never going to be a red card. It was always a yellow for that very reason. The referee applied the letter of the law.
Correctly. And oddly enough, what was interesting, 3 or 4 of the players were shouting, including Mandzukic at the side. He was saying, why is it not red? Why is it not red? You've just explained perfectly to us.
3 minutes of extra time remaining. So we do have late drama, and the drama will continue. BBC Radio 5 Live. Modric, it was a beautiful ball as well through to Rebic, out towards Veselko, right-hand side. The thing is, with Modric, they've never had a penalty shootout in the World Cup. They have in the Euros, and he failed to score. You wouldn't now want to take another one in the shootout because, well, if he is, he's going to have to be very mentally strong, because Schmeichel with the save.
But there's also a big part of you that thinks, well, you're one of the major players, if not the major player in the team. And if you're seen to, inverted commas, bottle it, I wouldn't use that phrase, but some would, then, say, well, wait a minute, but young kids, you're putting them through that. They have to live with that. So in some ways, Modric almost has to offer to take a penalty.
2 minutes of added on time remain. 1-1. Modric has had a late penalty save. We are edging ever closer to a shootout here in Nizhny Novgorod. As Modric switches it out towards Pivaric, the left back, level with the penalty area. Pivaric onto his right foot now, waits, doesn't deliver the ball. Rakitic, Modric, is he going to shoot from distance? He waits, crowded out to Rakitic, back to goal, can't find a way through. There's a Russian supporter being helped up the stairs over on that far side.
There'll be a few more later on.
As he's been taken out from that far side, as Modric comes forward now. Modric shoots straight at Schmeichel.
It would have been a travesty, to be fair, had Modric scored, had that penalty been scored. Considering the way the game had gone, and specifically the second half, they hadn't shown enough. They hadn't shown anywhere near enough, and they didn't deserve to win the game. So I think Denmark, the least they actually deserve is at least to get to a penalty shooter with the effort they've put in, with the limitations of the players they've got there.
Well, we're about to find out how much added on time there will be here in the stadium. 1-1 between these two sides, and Croatia had an opportunity to go through. You've got to feel sorry for them in the sense that it would have been a certain goal if Jorgensen doesn't make the challenge, but it was a genuine attempt to play the ball. Hence why it was only a yellow card from the Huddersfield Town player who gave them the lead. Modric now wants to try and find a moment of redemption. Kramaric goes for a curling effort, right-footed, over the top, goal kick.
And Modric is now playing in the part of the pitch that you wanted to see him playing in. He's desperate to go and make up for that penalty miss, which could have put his country through there. But he spent most of the game, and hey, it's probably not his fault. He's told to play in a deeper lying central midfield role, but he's kind of been wasted in it today. He's absolutely been wasted in it today, because there hasn't been any danger in the position that he was playing in. He didn't need to cover that area.
The Denmark supporters, that block of red, are celebrating in the top tier away to our right-hand side. We're into 1 additional minute of added time in extra time on BBC Radio 5 Live, where earlier Spain-Russia went to a shootout. The host nation knocking out Spain 4-3 in penalties, and we're going to have a successive shootout, it would seem, in this 2018 World Cup in Russia. Tomorrow, Brazil-Mexico at 3, Belgium-Japan at 7. But when I talked before about Modric missing that shootout against Turkey in the Euros in 2008, Rakitic also missed in that shootout. They lost 3-1 to Turkey in the quarter-final. This is to go through to the last 8, and it looks like a penalty shootout will determine who will play Russia in Sochi. Eriksson back behind to Krohn-Deli. Nikolai Jorgensen now, right-hand side, blonde-haired striker, down towards the corner flag. Does he go? No, he rolls it towards the penalty area. Schöner is behind him. One last chance for Denmark. Schöner with the cross, headed away by Vida. That's it. The extra time is over. Croatia 1, Denmark 1, and we will have a penalty shootout. Kelly Cates. Well, the cheer in the background was because the end is where the Danish support, that strong block of red, is situated. That's where it's going to be, the end, the penalties are going to be taken from, and Denmark are going to go first. And it's Christian Eriksen who has wandered forward for Denmark, who've never been involved in a World Cup shootout. They've won one and lost one in European Championships, as Eriksen is up against Subasic, who waits, resting on his knees. The Argentinian referee seems happy. The goalkeeper now jumps up and down, rattles the crossbar. Eriksen waits in the white shirt of Denmark for the first penalty shootout. The first kick of this penalty shootout. Eriksen now runs up, right-footed, doesn't score. Subasic away to his right-hand side. Might have just clipped the post as well, but Eriksen has failed to register.
By the way, if you're at this level, if you're taking a penalty kick, and the keeper goes the right way, you must hit the side netting with pace, or else you won't score. That ball was still going for the side netting, and he still saved it. So that actually wasn't a terrible penalty. That was a brilliant save for me.
Milan Bardelli, the substitute. The Fiorentina midfielder comes forward. Already found the back of the net when he started against Iceland. So Eriksen has missed. Striking the post. Kasper Schmeichel, star-like, waits, all in yellow. Bardelli comes up now. Saved by the legs of Kasper Schmeichel. He saved the penalty in extra time. He saved the first one now in the shootout. And both sides have missed their opening spot kick.
Well, apart from 4 minutes at the start of this game a long, long time ago, we've had a lot of poor play. We've now watched 3 penalty kicks being missed as well. It's extraordinary. And a certain Mr. Schmeichel, and I don't mean Kasper, he's in front of all the cameras just now. He is loving it, seeing his son doing well. But that was a poor penalty, that one. That was a very poor penalty kick.
Central defender Simon Kjær has come forward. Older listeners will remember Peter Schmeichel and his heroics at Euro 92, beating the Dutch. He's now watching on and seeing his son try to become the Danish hero in 2018. Kjær, the captain, comes forward now, the central defender, strikes it powerfully, rifles the ball into the back of the net, and the first penalty has been registered and Denmark lead 1-0.
If you have Subasic and you had Schmeichel in there, they're not saving that one. Absolutely roofed it right into the corner with such incredible pace. You do not get better penalty kicks than that. Well done, Kjær.
Kramaric now comes forward. Disappointing spell when he was at Leicester City. He's up against his former teammate. Only scored 5 goals in 20 appearances when he was at the King Power. These two will know each other well. Kramaric slowly walks back. Again, star-like, Kasper Schmeichel. And Kramaric rolls the ball into the back of the net. Kasper Schmeichel pleads, saying it was he stopped in the run-up. The Argentinian referee wags his finger. The goal stands. It's 1-1 after 2 penalties each.
And of course the rule is you're not allowed to stop. You can slow your run down, which feels like a little bit of a dummy, and that's what he's done. And we've seen a few of them recently. But if you stop, John Aldridge, a player I used to play with quite a lot, fantastic at that. Can't do that anymore. That wasn't a stop, it was just a slow down, and it was a good penalty kick.
Michael Crondelli, the 35-year-old, the oldest player in the Danish squad. Subasic makes his way slowly back onto his goal line. The Argentinian referee says, "Don't you move." He's all in green. Crondelli waits for the referee's whistle. There it is, comes up now, strikes it right-footed, sends the goalkeeper the wrong way, finds the bottom left-hand corner. Denmark lead 2-1, BBC Radio 5 Live.
Yep, another good penalty kick there. He waits for the keeper to move. And by the way, the referee does tell the goalkeepers not to move off the line. They're ignoring him completely, and he's doing absolutely nothing about it. And that's the difficulty when you're being a referee and this sort of thing. You're actually trying to keep your eyes on 3 different things. You've got the assistant there to help you as well. But in the end, you almost have to send the keeper the wrong way. Now,
Luka
here he
Modric.
is.
He had an opportunity to win it late on in extra time. Kasper Schmeichel made the save. Modric missed. in Euro 2008 in a penalty shootout. Modric comes forward now, right-footed, low, down the middle. Schmeichel went away to his left-hand side. Modric, you certainly can't question his character, his bravery. He stepped up when it mattered, and he rolled it right down the middle.
What incredible bravery, not only to take the penalty kick, but to take that penalty kick. And he must have thought about it long and hard. Do I go the same way again? He'll think I'm going to do that. He double bluffs. See if you're thinking that way. You know what? The sensible, intelligent thing? Play down the middle. He did that.
They both missed their opening kick. So after 3 penalties, it's 2-2 in the shootout between Croatia and Denmark. This is Schöne who's come forward. It's again very precise, very slow, walk back after placing the ball down on the spot. Schöne waits. Subasic makes the save! Subasic moving away to his right-hand side, and Schöne misses, and Croatia might have an advantage now.
I was actually shaking my head before he took it. He did not take a long enough run. He's taken 2 steps here and trying to get power on it. Keeper's about 2 yards off his goal, miles out of his goal there. And the referee's saying you're not allowed to move off your line. Well, that's a nonsense. He's miles out there. But that's the deal. Everyone knows that's what they do. And you almost have to wait for the keeper to move and put it the other side. Shame for Schöne, he played well today.
The player who's gone to retrieve the ball after it rebounded from the save from Subasic is the substitute left-back, Pivaric. Plays in Ukraine for Dynamo Kiev. He's 29 years of age. He's never registered a goal for his country. But this will be probably the biggest moment for him in his career, because he has the opportunity to give Croatia the advantage with the 4th kick for Croatia. Pivaric runs up now, strikes it left-footed. Kasper Schmeichel again comes to Denmark's rescue with a save away to his right-hand side. Schmeichel with his 2nd save. His 3rd if you include the one in extra time. And it is still 2-2 in the shootout.
Exactly the same as the previous save. Schmeichel on this occasion, he's 1.5 yards, 2 yards off his line, makes the save, and when the referee's letting it go now, the goalkeepers know that's going to happen now, and the strikers or the players that are taking the penalty kick have to get that in their heads now. You almost have to wait for the keeper to move now, because if you put it to the side he goes to, you ain't scoring tonight.
Leicester City fans will know all about the prowess of Kasper Schmeichel when it comes to penalty saves. This is the 5th kick for Denmark. We're essentially already now into sudden death as Jorgensen comes forward and Subasic makes the save with his legs. The 2 goalkeepers are both going it, slugging it out like 2 boxes in a ring. Subasic makes the save this time, and Kasper Schmeichel's got to pull out the heroics once again because Nikolai Jorgensen fluffed his lines.
Schmeichel's went and got the ball there. He's going to try everything he can possibly do just now to waste time to get inside this man's head. A massive amount of pressure would have been on this kick had the last one been scored. Now you're walking up to win the game. It's still pressure, but nowhere near the same type of pressure.
But Rakitic, who comes forward now, like Modric, failed to score in the penalty shootout when Croatia lost to Turkey in Euro 2008. Rakitic places the ball down. Kasper Schmeichel again, star-like, arms stretched out wide. Dalic, the Croatian coach, can't watch, but the cheers will tell you that Croatia have done it. No more heroics from Kasper Schmeichel. Rakitic rolls the ball into the left-hand corner. Croatia are victorious, and they will meet Russia in the last 8 after beating Denmark in a penalty shootout in Nizhny Novgorod.
We waited a long time for some excitement, and we got it at the end. Both of the keepers did very well, some great saves there. Huge amount of tension, and something that's, as we all know, it's incredibly painful to see. I'm not convinced that Croatia deserve to win that game. They have won that game. If that happens to be their stinker and they play more like their old selves, they've got a chance in this competition. But in the simplest terms in the world, England, you have nothing to worry about.
Russia, the host nation. On the evidence of this, you have nothing to fear. Croatia against the host nation Russia in the quarter-final as Croatia beat Denmark 3-2 in a penalty shootout, and you've got to feel for Kasper Schmeichel. Kelly.